right, cool. Welcome to Soscast. This is where finance meets romance, the sexiest financial podcast in the world, only here on Valuetainment, the #1 channel in the world for entrepreneurs. My name is Adam Sosnick. You can call me Soz, and we're here for one main reason, to help all you people out there, especially you men, get paid, laid, and do it your way. So today's a very interesting show. You like that right there? Today's a very interesting show. You know, usually we're doing it in the afternoons. We have a podcast, a PVD podcast, that we have to, special guest for that. We had to move some schedules around. It's all about flexibility, y'all. Can't be too set in your ways. I said, I'm a 4 o'clock guy, happy hour. And I said, today you're a 1 o'clock guy. I said, sign me up. All right, so here we go. So I said, we put together this. Number one, I want to thank Justin for coming a little bit early. If you don't know Justin Waller, we're about to get familiar with this gentleman here today. Justin is doing Jedediah's show tomorrow. He flew in a day early to be here. Justin Waller in the house. Amazing to see what you've done over the last year or so, brother. We've met. Rolo introduced us. And to see everything that you've been doing over the last year, been following each other, everything that's been going on with Fresh and Fit, Tate, we're going to address some of that stuff today. But thank you for making the time. Thank you for being here.
Yep, glad to be here.
Thank you, bro. And then if you might recognize this beautiful girl right here, Amber Joy Lane, when's the last time you were on the show?
I don't know. I feel like it's been 6 months.
She's been blowing up.
I'm so glad that I left because, like, look what you did with my salary.
Look at this.
It's insane. Wow, you see what
We
they
took
were
all
paying
that
me?
money we were not
You
paying
invested.
you.
You reinvested.
Yes.
I'm glad. I'm happy to be
you
back.
save to invest. I say it all the time. Jamie's in the house. Jamie, what's your last name again?
Simmons.
Jamie Lee Simmons, Russell's daughter. She's in the house. Today, Jamie's a little bit different because she's a podcaster, YouTuber. She does some things on the side to make some loot.
You always bring it up.
I mean, but today you're coming as a comedian. Today you're coming in to be funny, girl.
I'm gonna
no
try.
pressure.
I did
No pressure.
smoke a fatty on the way here. So
You did or you didn't?
I did. So
I'd be
that's where
disappointed
I'm
if
at.
you
I was
didn't.
hoping it got me in the funny mood.
Well, you're feeling some type of way. And then new to the show, first time on the show, Q, the Q pill. Brother, tell us about yourself. I don't know much about you. I know that you study behavioral science, human evolution, and you got your own philosophy called the Q pill. Real quick, what's your story with all that?
Yeah, so as you said, independent behavioral scientist, certified relationship coach. The Q pill is an amalgamation of scientific truths, the way I look at the world, and then combine that with my experiences, observations, empiricism, and they meet at that nexus in which I consider the truth. And what I do is I want to help people. So I want to help people understand the realities of life, things, in an era of misinformation, political correctness, things that are fallacies, misconceptions. I stress stoicism, accountability, metacognition, introspection, and I stress the fifth one is objectivity.
Wow.
So
when you're using words like amalgamation and half
think of
the other
it.
words I don't understand, I'm like,
I
this
think
guy
the
went to school for a little bit.
I think the
That's
Q
what's
pill
up.
was my first birth control.
The Q pill.
The Q pill.
So
birth
funny.
control.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, today we're going to covering a wide range of topics. Bear with us, buckle up, brace for impact. We're talking money, networking, socializing, partying, drinking, OnlyFans, dating, sex, body count, work-life balance, the whole thing. And we'll do a little amalgamation of the nexus of the hyper-intuitivity of social inner dynamics, everything Q talks about.
Well put together.
And of course, stoicism. So listen, let's just to get to know our guests real quick. One of the things we always ask our guests is real quick, less than 10 seconds, tell us your relationship status and how you make your money. Why don't we go ladies first?
I am single, and I am making my money producing and copywriting and in entertainment, stand-up comedy, hosting.
She's a Renaissance woman.
Yes.
Okay. Jay Waller in the house.
Wouldn't you like to know? And real estate and construction.
Real estate and construction.
Yeah.
And dating amalgamation of sorts, if you may.
It's not a weak place in my life.
Love the confidence.
Yep.
Jamie,
What was the question again?
that's how you know you're high.
Relationship
When there's one question.
It's on
Dating
brand.
status, how you make your money.
Oh, I'm single and I make money on OnlyFans and through my podcast, 2 Girls, 1 Blunt.
And she smoked on the way here. Q, go ahead.
single, unmarried.
Single,
And-
unmarried.
Yes. and I make my money through social media and my coaching business. So I've had some pretty huge clients to date. One being a rapper, he's been my biggest client. Another one being a individual who's on the Oprah Winfrey Network show Ready to Love. Those are two of my prominent clients. So I've had 247 clients to date so far within the last year.
And what was the thing that you said that you were the gentleman of the year of the hot dude thing? What was that?
I was featured on the Shade Room as one of the zaddies of the day.
The zaddies.
Yeah.
Justin,
zaddies
how
of
are
the
you
day.
not I feel like you should be a fucking leading candidate for that, bro.
For Zaddy?
For all that.
I'm not sure what Zaddy means, bro. But
It's like a hot daddy.
Yeah, basically.
You can pick it up, Justin. Yeah.
Zaddy.
yeah.
Is that what that
There's
means?
spice to it.
Yeah, it
Okay.
comes. It's black culture.
Black culture.
Yeah, they added the
zaddy.
Z. Yeah, zaddy.
Justin, see, we got to get in
You
that.
know what
bro.
I say about black women? Black women say what white women are thinking. So I know I got my shit together when black women are hitting on me all day.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because they'll say it. So
I love that.
Maybe I could be a zaddy. I don't know.
Do black women have more confidence than white women? Is that what it comes down to?
It's just been
Oh,
my
for
experience
sure.
that they flat out tell you. They
Wow.
just flat out let
Also,
you know.
black women love gingers, and you got a little of the ginger vibe
Yeah.
going on. So you're like,
I'm definitely
match made in
ginger.
heaven.
I feel like a Blake Griffin coming on one of these days sometime soon. Like a hot, ginger, jacked, half black, half white, redheaded
Yeah,
dude.
turbo
Zaddy
Turbo
in
athlete.
the house.
Yeah.
So do black women hit on you more than white women?
Absolutely.
Like verbally?
White women are, in my experience, are very subtle.
Huh.
Black women are very direct, in my experience. So
No,
you know.
same here.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Black
yeah.
women are definitely more aggressive. I've dated a variety of women: Guyanese, Lebanese, Ghanaian, Black American women, white, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cambodian, Filipino.
Been around the world.
Yeah.
I've been around the world and
I
I've
completely
been
agree with
player
you.
hating.
Out of all women, black women are the most direct.
Yep.
Colombia, I would put after that. Eastern European women, you have to be more direct with, and white girls will kind of just put themselves in your space. And kind
Just
of,
hang
they'll like a
around.
couple pictures,
Yeah,
or like,
like a couple
hey,
pictures.
hey, I'm by you.
And actually
Huh.
slide
I'm
in
not
with
running.
manners.
So
I have a
this
joke
was not the
about that.
topic I felt like starting the show off with, but since we're here,
Yeah.
do you want a woman being that direct? Like, okay, full disclosure, I get along with black women. I love black people. I love black people. I love black, but because I'm very loud, I'm very obnoxious. So if someone gives me attention,
Oh, no.
they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" Right? Like, like I'm just that dude, right? So, and black women are very vocal like that. So you're a little more subtle, laid back. I feel like if a black girl hollered at you, you'd be like, "Hey, ma, how you doing?" I don't use the word ma. That's just not my thing. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" So, do you want a girl hollering at you? Like, does that ever work out? I guess here's my question.
Work out in what way?
Okay, exactly. Meaning, like, if a girl hollers at you, "Hey, boy, how you doing?" How often are you really ending up taking that girl home versus a girl that you pursue? You understand the question? If a girl pursues you and is very local and very, very vocal and very assertive, does that ever really work out? Like, do you ever like, all right, let's go, me and you right now? Or is it like, "Hey, nice to meet you, holler later. I'd rather, hunt my prey."
Well,
What do you think?
well, the
I
first
like how he calls it prey.
Yeah.
You want to go first, Justin?
No, fire
Okay.
away.
Well, the first thing I think about is this how she is, or am I special? That's the first thing. So typically, I like to be biased towards myself. I think I'm a little bit more special. I think I motivated her based on who I am and how I look. So a lot of times, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, especially if she's attractive. I'm definitely going to engage, and I trust my judgment, my ability to assess how she is, what her personality is like, and I go from there typically.
Okay. So you're like, I got so much confidence. She probably doesn't holler at anybody. It's got to be me.
Yeah.
Zaddy of the year. Hello, Shade Room. Okay. What's your tactics?
It's been my experience that high level women don't do that.
Correct.
And I'm typically going to be trying to see a high level woman, unless I'm in this situation where, I'll give you a great example. I was walking home in Miami,
Can we turn Justin up, please? Thanks. Go ahead.
and I had a girl get very, very direct with me, and she was actually Colombian. And since it was 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
and I only had 500 more feet to walk, I took her up on it. But in regards to like every day,
Yeah.
no. Most of the time, a girl that I'm after, I'm gonna have to say something to. She'll do something subtle, like 3 of my Instagram photos or something like that. Then it's on you. So I generally don't have too much interaction with the women that are hitting on me. It's just good to have fun with it.
Yeah, I
laugh.
have fun with it, yes.
Thanks, girl. The whole thing.
It's almost like batting practice. It's like spring training. It's like you're not gonna end up dating the Colombian girl that's like, hey, papi, ¿qué pasa? You're like, it's almost like I made my money doing cold calling, and I'd have to role play before I even picked up the phones. All right, so hey, how you doing? I'm Justin. Hey, I'm Adam. How you doing? Can I interest you? And blah, blah, blah. You got to get warmed up.
Yeah.
So the more banter you can learn as a dude, it's like you do stand-up comedy. You do stand-up. It's like, how many random fucking open mics do you do before you actually get on to like the improv, right? I think that's what it comes down to. By the way, how about, you're not the type of girl that's approaching men. You're very confident, by the way.
I am 100% the girl who approaches men.
Wow.
But I think I found a lot of times in situations like in Miami where I'm at a party where the women around me are just like 10 times what I've got going on, that I end up talking to men more than anybody else there because I go up and have a conversation. I'm not hollering at them. I'm engaging them, asking them what they do, or like complimenting usually, but like I approach with a smile. And then I've actually found that I've had more success where the girls are standing there in their corner on their phone, never actually meet a guy because they're not approaching them. So that's, I found, I don't like sitting and waiting around for people to approach me, because for me that feels like maybe that's not high value, but I feel like it's do a little bit, do a little work besides just being there looking good. Find common ground, have a conversation. If it doesn't work, fine. But I've usually found more success that way by approaching men than just waiting and hoping.
Yeah, I like what you said, Amber, about you're not hollering. You're just, hey, I'm not going to sit around like a wallflower.
I'm
while
asking.
Girls, yeah.
I think men want to be asked and engaged and like talk about what they're proud of. And that's like my favorite thing to do is find out what people are passionate about. And then I think they feel my personality, energy, and I think that like makes me more attractive to them in their eyes than the girls who are just, again, if you're sitting at a party and you're looking amazing, and they do. The girls in Miami look incredible. But if your eyes are down, your energy is in your phone or, you know, waiting, how can somebody get a read on you and who you are?
Like, eye contact is everything.
For sure,
when
eye
you're
contact.
out.
I mean, if you're a girl who can pull a guy across the room with just your eyes, that's impressive.
Go ahead,
It's a
Jamie. What's your
powerful-
secret?
So in college, I actually had a move, and it worked all the time. With
Jamie's
men.
got a move, y'all.
I had a move, and so it would only be with men that I had that immediate like, oh wow, like I want to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I would see them look at me at the bar, and we'd make eye contact, and maybe we went to different sides of the bar. We're still making eye contact, so I'm like, okay, they're interested. At like the end of the night, or if I wanted to talk to them before and not like ruin my night out with my friends, I would make eye contact with them, not stop, walk up to them, and I would just go to them and be like, I'm so sorry, but like you are one of the most attractive people I've ever seen. I hope you have a great night, and I would walk away.
That's your move.
Yes, and every like 9 out of 10 times, a dude would grab my arm as I was turning around. He'd be like, "Nope, you come here." And I like a week later, I had a guy in one of my classes be like, "You came up to me and you said, what you came up to me and said was like the nicest thing. Like you looked at me and like you really meant it." And I was like, "I did." And he was like, "Yeah, I'll always remember that." Like
Little did he know that's just your move.
it was my move, but like I only did it for the people that like.
Okay.
matter.
I
As
think
a
guys
matter of
really
fact-
like compliments because you don't get them that often. And I think that is something that it will stand out because if they're not just asking about what you do, but if you give them a genuine compliment, like I noticed your eyes immediately and your ass in those jeans, but just saying.
Jay Waller, you might
Very
want to
nice to
stand
meet
up and
you.
take a little twirl
Those
right
calves.
quick, brother.
Can you show? Sure. These jeans are tight, okay?
I mean,
What's it
these
do-
jeans.
Oh,
Just saying. I'm
but
sure
like-
you
I mean,
get
that's thick
compliments.
with multiple C's at the end of it. Q,
like-
what were you going to say?
Like
That's a life's
last
work,
Thursday,
man.
I was at Qdoba. I went to grab some Qdoba up in Philly in a prestigious area by Villanova. And
You know
this-
all those prestigious Qdobas. all that.
yeah.
I love that.
So I got
That
out the car.
prestigious Mexican food.
And this girl got out the car. We got out the car at the same time. She was a little bit ahead of me, and she held the door open for me. I'm like 15 feet back, and I'm like, that's an awful chivalrous gesture to
Yeah.
hold the door that long.
Now you're, like, hustling
so
up a little
so
bit.
I'm like, thank you. She like the way she said you're welcome. I said, oh, she's attracted to me. So I went in. I got my food. I came out. I'm going to my car. I hear her come running out. Excuse me, do you have a girlfriend? And I turn around. I'm like, oh. I'm like, nah. She's like, you are really attractive. Can I have your number?
And?
I gave it to her,
But nothing.
I
you
ain't-
didn't like it that she like came up to you?
No, it was cool. I mean, she wasn't bad looking. I just didn't want to text her.
It
Well,
would
I
be
think that's where
Tuesdays
the
only.
power of the walk away.
Tuesdays only.
Yeah, she missed me on the business day. So.
Yeah, Tuesdays only.
Yeah.
That a woman who does that often to other men?
It's possible, yes. And like in her case, I got that from her.
Okay.
I picked up on that from her, so I was like, I don't really want to take
How do you
her up on
know?
this.
That's why you walk
It's
away.
it's just my instinct. It's the way that I can just look at a woman in her voice. The way I'm like, she probably did this. She said she
You
had just
smell the
graduated.
desperation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Pheromones.
subtleties. There's definitely subtleties.
It's definitely subtleties. There's
Yeah.
some nuance in the way they approach, the way they talk. Their behavior is
Right.
too straightforward or too aggressive, and it's just like,
Absolutely.
you probably do this.
It's like
often.
that girl that tells you, "Oh, I never do this," the next morning. Sometimes I actually genuinely believe her that she doesn't, and then sometimes I don't.
Yep.
And it's off the subtleties of the interaction. And going back to what you said, I think that the way that you do it is completely different than the way that we were talking about in the beginning.
Okay.
I think that's a very healthy way to do it. Asking them, having a normal adult conversation. He was talking about very aggressive.
Gotcha.
And so I think doing it with class in that way, it is actually not a problem at all. In fact, it is quite attractive because it shows that you can have an intelligent conversation with someone. And I think that that's very, very important for any kind of, like, if I can't connect with you intellectually, I really don't want to sleep with you anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I would say somewhere around 28 to 30, that started to change for me, you know? So I think that you're doing it correctly, and that is a completely different place than how that conversation started with
Got it.
a girl hollering at you in public and being loud about it.
Oh, that's what you mean. Like literally hollering.
Oh, I mean literally.
I
Like
thought you
I'll be
just-
walking through a store and a black girl will be like, "Damn!" Like, yeah, yeah. Like, and look, and it proves
That's
a point.
a very aggressive
And it
move.
proves a point directly because you had that thought about my ass and those jeans way back in there, but you didn't say
You
anything.
subtly sprinkled
Black
it.
women say what white women think.
Wow.
I'm telling
That's
you.
how this whole thing started. I'm like, how did
Yeah.
we get down
Let
this
me
path?
tie it back
I
in.
like that,
A
though.
black girl would have said it on point.
And it
I
all
would've
started
walked
with the
in,
thickness of them
I
jeans.
would have walked in. She would have been like, and it would have been like she would have said it right
Let
away.
you know up front,
Right
direct.
away. And you would have never
I
said
love
it had we
that.
not talked about it.
No, I wait and then weaponize it like
Yeah.
a true white woman.
You're a true white woman.
This is a
By
white
the way,
girl.
Nat, let's. By the way, we haven't even said hi to Natalia over here. Speaking
Hello.
of beautiful, wonderful, lovely people.
Hello, everyone.
Nat,
Yeah.
how you feeling? What do we want people to know today?
I'm feeling great. I'm super excited for our panel today. Thank you all for joining. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, we're growing very, very rapidly. And I'll be reading all your super chats today. So give us some good super chats for our panel. Like Adam said, it's a very diverse panel. And I think we can really get some good information for you all today. So let's get into it,
There
Mr.
we
Sod.
go.
Oh, last thing
Yes.
I want to address is that I'm big on this. I love how we all came in kind of matching.
Red and black.
I am
baby.
big on like the
Yeah.
matching the energy. So I just want to say we're already starting off on very good energy.
Q and
That's
Amber
true.
and
Let's
Black.
get this
and
party
the red,
started.
The red wire.
Just so you know, this is how the difference between how men and women think. It's a half hour before the show. We got Q cards, we got Q in the house, we got Jay Waller. I'm texting people, I'm making sure that we got everything going on. Do we have drinks for our guests? I'm just prepping like a dude do, right? She goes, Adam, by the way, we're matching today.
And it's only
Okay,
because
I'm
he
like,
only wears
this
blue all the
is-
time.
This
so I'm
is
like,
the
you
thing that
never
we need
wear
to
black.
discuss.
We
So
had
anyway,
to. We had to.
Anyway, we doing our thing.
It's an
Anyway,
energy thing.
where I want to start.
is.
I did not expect to talk about black women hollering as the first topic, but that's live TV, baby. We out here. So what I do want to start with is this concept of confidence, right? So they say competence leads to confidence, right? Like you've said that before. So I want to talk about how to boost your confidence as a man and like what women are attracted to when it comes to confidence. So in my experience, a lot of times confidence comes from experience. Like when I started playing football, I was on the bottom rung of the varsity football team, 10th grade, got no playing time. But it wasn't like I didn't lack skills. I lacked confidence because I never got in the game. Next thing you know, I'm in the game. I'm making tackles. All of a sudden, I'm doing this. They're like, yo, you're starting next game. I'm like, what's up? And it built confidence. It built confidence. It went on to being all-county football. I know you played college football. You can speak to that when it came to work and make cold calls. First time I started making cold calls, very nervous. Now it's like no freaking big deal. You make 10,000 cold calls, you're good. First time I ever did a live show, I'm like, now it's like, what's up? Let's start the show. Confidence is huge for a man. So I want to kind of just hone in on this confidence thing, whether it's work, whether it's business, whether it's dating, whether it's networking, whether it's just stepping into a room and being like, look at these jeans, baby. Confidence is huge. How did you develop your confidence, Jay Waller?
You build it. You absolutely build it, man. You have a job in life as a man. You have to build who you are, whether that's fitness or finance or being competent in whatever field you're in. I'm a big believer, and I don't know if you teach game or not, so no disrespect if you do, but I think game is bullshit. I think it's snake oil. Because if I see a woman that I think is attractive and she is keeping herself in my space, I'll just simply walk up to her and say, hey, sorry to bother you, but it would have bothered me if I would not have come and spoken to you. I would have felt like a coward and I've been upset with myself. My name is Justin. And if a woman is into you, it doesn't matter what you say. And you have to come up to her and say it with confidence, and you'll know immediately. So I don't particularly believe in game, especially on the level that it's sold to young men, because you can teach a young man how to like make a girl feel insecure and want to be closer to you, or say something funny, but it's never gonna last because the man himself is hollow, and he doesn't have what it takes to really believe in what he's saying. And for that reason, I feel like you have to build yourself up, and it takes a little time. But once you become that man, you don't have to fake being anything.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be cute about it.
It's gonna sound like I'm pushing back on you, but it's actually a compliment.
Do it.
I'm gonna tell you what I told one of my best friends who plays in the NBA, 6'9", multimillionaire, married to the most famous woman in the world at one point. You know who I'm talking about if you're familiar with this story. And he's telling me, like, he's talking to a bunch of guys out there, like me and like 3 or 4 dudes. And he's like, listen, guys, like, this is how I do my thing, picking up chicks, right? And he's about to lay it on us. And I go, shut the fuck up, okay? Don't teach us anything. You're 6'9", you're a multimillionaire, you were married to Kim Kardashian at one point. Like, save it, homie. Like, go talk to the 5'4" balding dude about what kind of game he needs to learn, because he ain't hollering at this girl. So what I'm saying to you is, yeah, when you're Jay Waller and you're 6'3" and you're good looking and you got a fucking ass like that, right? You're gonna have like immediately women being like, all right, just don't fuck this up, buddy. Don't say anything stupid. Like, as long as you come up and spit game, you're good to go. So your level of confidence is different than, you know, Nick over here, who's 5'5" and is wearing 3-inch lift shoes and is somewhat balding and hasn't made money yet. I don't know anybody named Nick that does that. But so what I'm saying is, like, you don't necessarily need game. You just need to have confidence.
And I'm completely okay with that. But let me preface it with this. There's another version of me who is still 6'3", doesn't own multiple companies. He works in a plant every day. He's 40, 50 pounds overweight. He's let his hair go away because he didn't take care of his body, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
yeah,
et cetera.
Exactly.
Right? I built this person. And so in all fairness, I deserve to walk up with confidence. And any man who does the same can do the same. He might not be able to get a 10 out of 10 in another country or in Miami, but he can certainly live in Indiana and have the most beautiful girl in his town. And for that reason, I think that a guy putting game in front of building himself is an absolute mistake.
Yeah, I actually appreciate that response. And there's 2 versions. At one point, I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds. I've been this way. Like, the whole premise of this entire show, the entire premise is men improving.
Right.
Whether that's money, whether that's relationships, whether that's your network, whether that's your lifestyle, whether that's your looks, whether it's like getting better, faster, stronger, cooler, sexier, healthier, wealthier, the whole thing. And, you know, at one point in my life, I was 235 pounds. I was letting myself go. I would make excuses like, I don't trust any dude over 30 with abs. It's like, and all that was is a reflection on me being like, oh, I'm not willing to put in the work, so I'm just making excuses. So now that I'm 42, I'm like, no, bro, like, I'm dedicating time to do this. I want to compete. We're all competing in a marketplace, whether it's a business marketplace, sexual marketplace. And I think confidence comes from actually putting in the work, like we talked about, whether it's the football stuff or making the calls or doing shows like this. And once you build it up, it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah,
You're going to grow and grow and grow and grow.
It absolutely comes
Yeah,
from inside of
exactly.
you, and you're the only person that can build it. And if you don't want the ball in Game 7 of your life, then you need to go look in the mirror and find out what the fuck you're scared of.
I love that.
And go get confident there.
I love
Give
that.
me the fucking rock. If you don't want the ball in every outcome of your life, you are some way scared of something, and you have to go find out what it is, and then you need to go build it. If not, a pickup line is not going to help you, and it certainly will not help you retain
Yeah,
her.
it's not going to help you in the long term. It
No.
might help you in that
It
moment.
might get you to. It
Yeah.
might get her to sleep with you once, and then
Yeah.
it's going to get your fucking heart broke because you
Yeah.
were fishing outside of a pond. You were not in that league, bro.
Awesome, bro. Awesome
So-
advice. Q, let's go to you for a second. So how
Okay.
did you get your confidence? You're 30, right?
Yes, I'm 30.
Justin's 37, so he's
Yeah.
a little more time to marinate, right? How did you develop your confidence?
man.
The first thing you said, experience. I break that down to practice and preparation. So, and I don't do the game. I agree with you on game. I think it's bullshit to pick up artists, all that.
Snake
shit.
oil, bro.
Yep, it's bullshit.
Snake oil.
So essentially, what I learned from is not being scared to fail. You need to figure out what it is that you need to improve on. And you do that behind closed doors. And then when you get out in the real world and you apply it, understand that this might not work the first time, but know that you're going to have another opportunity at it. And don't be scared to fail. So make sure you prep whatever it is in any domain, whatever domain you want to pursue in life. Make sure that you prep. You do the research that you need to do. You practice athletics, whatever the case may be. I learned mine from basketball. I played with a lot of the top players, NBA players through high school. I played for one of the top high schools, and I realized that my downfall was my confidence. The fact that I didn't have the confidence to get out there and do what I needed to do on the court to prove that I could play at the level that it later ended up finding out I could play at.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that you're going to fail. Not only do you have to have confidence in success, but in failure as well. No, I'm going to fail. I don't care. I'm going to try again. That's where the confidence comes from. And then you'll later start to see the progression. You'll see that progression, and you'll find that confidence with that progression and continue on whatever path that you're on.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
I want to pick up on one thing you said. You talked about it's okay to fail, right? And like it's kind of how you bounce back from failure. We did a podcast last week with PBD and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Do you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is? One of literally the most famous scientists in the world. I don't know if you can pull him up real quick just to get a visualization. And Pat asked Neil deGrasse Tyson, he said, what are sort of the indicators of success? Like especially graduating high school and college. Like he wasn't a highly sought after scientist. He was literally a male stripper at one point. I swear to God. Neil deGrasse Tyson, does that name ring a bell? Face ring a bell?
Yeah.
There is right there. And he said, I'll break it down for you. And he's like, well, yeah, obviously grades and scores are important, but there's such a multitude of factors. It's like networking. Like I'd rather have someone be a B+ student or a B student, but get along with everybody and socialize rather than like the valedictorian. And obviously they talked about nature versus nurture and parenting and everything like that. But to your point, he said, one of the key factors that I would put in the top 3 or 4 is the ability to bounce back from failure. Okay. And what do they say? Like fall down 10 times, get up 11. And that's essentially what breeds confidence is like you do stand-up comedy. I used to do stand-up comedy. You played college football. You played basketball. You're in the content creation game. We all know we've had fuck-ups. Yep. We all know how many people fuck up and they're like, look, this just isn't for me.
They give up.
And you just give up. And it's just that ability to bounce back from failure is what kind of creates you. That's what kind of is the dirt and the soil of the person. So what I want to open it up to the ladies is, you do stand-up. This is for any business. You've done stand-up. So this is a 2-part question. Compare your first thing of doing stand-up versus where you're at now, confidence-wise, and then circle back to, is there a more attractive quality for a man than having confidence? 2-part question.
Yeah, and I'm going to just kind of piggyback on the things that I've heard because, women can smell when the confidence is shallow and surface level, especially as a confident person. I built my confidence. I used to not be an attractive person. I was overweight my whole life, but I always had confidence. And I always kind of, when I look back now at my pictures and I'm like, how was I so confident when I looked like this? And it was because I genuinely liked who I was. And I still do. And when I meet a guy who's confident, but I can tell he doesn't like himself, then I know that he's building from the outside in versus the inside out. You can have all these assets, you can have the car, you can have the business, but if you don't like who you are, then every time you have a conversation with somebody, that's going to be at the forefront of your mind because you're thinking, do they like me as a person? You can have a lot of stuff, but we all want to be genuinely liked for who we are, right? So when I meet people, men who I can tell, you can just tell immediately because they're trying, they're showing, they're peacocking, but I'm like, you're not just settled. You can feel somebody whose energy is settled because they like who they are. And now beyond stand-up comedy, I have a YouTube show where I have to go out and approach people on the street. Go up to people. It's like cold calling, but live,
Nothing
face to
breeds
face.
confidence like rejection. You're
Yeah,
like, "All
man
right,
on the street,
dust yourself off."
Gotta get people to stop and talk to you in an age where everybody is busy and you don't want to be scammed and whatever. And to be honest, 90% of people stop and talk to me. And I wonder, what is it? And I feel that people can feel my genuine like energy and like good nature, and they want to stop because they feel me energetically. And if they don't, and this goes back to stand-up comedy, when people don't laugh, I know my jokes are funny, maybe not to them, and I like who I am, so I'm never really worried about failing because I don't think you're failing when somebody doesn't laugh at a joke. I think you're failing when you don't like who you are as a person.
I think one word that I was forgetting to use when I were talking about confidence is self-confidence. It kind of starts with yourself, right? Self-confidence, self-esteem. You ever hear that joke that Cat Williams did back in the day? And it was like, he's like telling his girl, she's like, you know, you don't help me build myself. You don't help me like improve my self-esteem. He's like, hold on. Hold on. It's called self-esteem. It ain't my job to build up your esteem. It's your self-esteem. I was like, oh shit, Cat Williams is spinning game. If you're not happy with yourself, self-esteem, self-confidence, nobody's gonna give that to you. You might have a coach in your ear. You might have a teammate or a player or a friend who can help you with that, but unless you want that shit, you're never gonna get it. Jamie, what are you thinking right now? You gotta have a lot of self-confidence doing what you do, putting it out there, and then coming on podcasts and being like, how you like me now? Jamie in the house, what's up? So how do you, like, female confidence?
I think society, I don't know, doesn't want women to be confident. A lot of other women don't like confident women. Like, there's jealousy. There's a lot of men who are like, I don't want a confident woman. But I think man or woman, a lot of us have been through the trenches, whether that's like a mental battle that you're having internally or the situation that life has given you. And we've all felt very low. We all know what it's like, or at least I feel like at some point, to question who you are and not know who, like, your self-worth. And to become a confident person, like, you are going through battle and rejection and having to stay true to who you are throughout all of that. It takes a lot to build a confident person. And I think that with my life and what I've been through, like my family being on front page of newspapers while I'm in high school, like being bullied by adults when I'm like a kid, like really horrible things, and then being overweight, like having everyone tell me, you're gonna fail, you're not gonna do anything. At one point, I was just like, none of these people matter. And I've been told no my whole life, and I had just stayed true and committed to one thing, and that was myself and my dedication to loving myself and creating like peace and happiness for myself. And so through that, through setting boundaries, through being really strong in my voice, and realizing that those people who had something to say were just projecting their own insecurities at me, now I can just move and walk and be like, yeah, this is who I am. And the crazy thing is, I've actually received DMs from people I went to school with like 10 years ago, seeing me on this podcast saying, I remember you always saying like, this is what you were gonna do. And like, people didn't believe you, and like, now I'm watching you. Things like that. And so I think it's really important staying resilient through what the world throws at you, because the world's gonna throw a lot of shit. There's gonna always be someone who doesn't like you. If everyone likes you, you're not doing it right. So.
Yeah, that's right. If you don't have haters, you ain't doing it right. Jay Waller, I want to ask you a question. You know, they say that, you know, I'm a big believer in playing the long game, especially as a guy, right? Not trying to get rich quick, like figuring things out. It might take some time. Guy needs time to marinate, right? And part of playing the long game is having to make sacrifices, right? And so what sacrifices have you made, or what sacrifices do you recommend that young men make in order to find success and make money, whether it's not going to clubs, not chasing women, not whether it's partying, drugs, you know, going with the cool crowd. What have you done in your life, and what do you recommend that young men do when it comes to sacrificing for success?
So I absolutely gave my 20s up, completely. I would challenge anybody to find a bar tab on my bank statements in my 20s. In addition to that, I woke up very, very, very early. I believe that if you're gonna meet God, he's up at 4 a.m. Because that's when you can hear yourself think. That's when you have the most time to do any kind of deep work. I would start my day off at 4. I would go work out, and I would do any deep work directly behind that. Anything I knew I had to get done, anything I knew before the phone started ringing. And I think anybody that does that and they take care of their body, particularly in their 20s, and they feed their mind, more than likely you're in a small town somewhere and you feel like you're the only person that feels the way that you do. And I felt that way very often. So I spent my time with authors and YouTubers that were the people that I wanted to become. And sure as shit, here I am getting 200 messages a day from young guys. So to me, I think that if you can be comfortable being alone and know that you're putting your sights on the man that you want to become, which is still my goal, by the way. We're talking about that backstage.
Yep.
I'm still obsessed with the man I'm going to become. I have this thing I call the rocking chair test. And it's this relationship I have between myself and the older version of me that can no longer live. You know what I'm saying? All he can do is sit there in the rocking chair. And so I have this file in my phone that I keep where I talk to him. I said, hey, I'm trying to do this today. I'm feeling this way. I had this goal. I hit it. I missed this. I got hit here. And all I want to do is make that old man proud of me. But it is a version of me. And so I answer to him when I make my decisions, my hard decisions in life. What would the old man say? Would he smile and be proud of me? Or would he be disappointed? Because at the end of the day, it's you that you ultimately have to answer to. So for any young man that doesn't know what to do, remember at the end of the day, you're going to have to answer to yourself. And as long as your goals are set on the man you become, you'll be absolutely fine.
Who was the person? Was it yourself? Was it someone that told you, hey, bro, 20s, put in that work now?
Bro,
versus like, dude, you're young, live it up. Because quite frankly, my 20s, bro, nobody wasted more time than me in their 20s.
Where were you?
I was in South Beach in Miami,
Right.
living here, born and raised. It's like I didn't move here. So, but part of the reason where I'm at today is because I did not dedicate the early half of my 20s to even thinking about money. In retrospect, all I was doing was perfecting networking and socializing. I didn't know it at the time because I was just on that hustle grind thing, but all I did was nightlife, club promoting, right? I did stand-up comedy. I was a school teacher at one point. I was just out there, just jack of all trades. But what I realized is that all I was doing was collecting phone numbers, and not like a weird sense. I was like, I know this person, I know this person, this person. I was just networking. So something clicked in me. I remember exactly what clicked in me. A fucking guy who had no business making money was like, yeah, I made $70K this month. I'm like, you made $70K this month? And a trigger went off in me. I was like, a switch went off. I was like, if this dude's making that kind of money, I got to focus on money. But looking back, that was actually the best thing for me to do, is because not focusing on money, it was like I started wide and went narrow. You know, I say the riches are in the niches. All I did was just like kind of perfect networking with people, talking with people, and that has helped me become like a salesperson and a networker. And that's how I made all my money, is being that dude, like the face of my company, where I have support staff who's very technical that kind of helped me with that. So that was for me. Like, but I didn't have someone in my ear saying, hey bro, time to wake up at 4 a.m. I was like going to bed at 4 a.m. But like, who was in your ear saying, dude, value your 20s. This is very important. Wake up, crack of dawn. Like, who was that person for you?
It was me, but I'll tell you why I think that was the case. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in college. We were going to play Arkansas. Remember when Darren McFadden was really good at Arkansas?
Yeah, the running back.
Yeah.
Sixth player.
Darren
Heisman.
McFadden, Felix Jones, all those guys were on the way, and I didn't really want to think about it, so I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I knew kind of in a way. But I only say that to say this, is that most people in America particularly live in a small town. Mm-hmm. Miami, LA, New York City, those are outliers, man.
Yeah.
Most of the people that watch the content, most of the people that really want to grow up and be somebody someday live in some small town somewhere with one plant in it and a couple of red lights, and they are, by and largely, the majority of the young men that
flyover country, so to speak.
flyover states,
Yeah.
right? Like Aldean's song, right?
'Cause you grew up in
I grew
Louisiana.
up in Louisiana.
We
So-
couldn't have had a
More
different,
opposite.
opposite
Yeah.
upbringing.
And let me tell you
grew
what-
up in Monroe, Louisiana? What?
I was born in Monroe.
Okay.
And I grew up in a little town called Denham Springs.
Yeah.
And all I knew, our whole culture was shut up and work. That was our whole culture.
Yeah.
And so growing up in the bad neighborhoods and the trailer parks, the only way I knew how to make doctor money was in boots.
Huh.
That's the only way I knew. And so I didn't know another way. And the handicap that gave me is there was an ignorance about the area that I was in. There's things that you understand about the world growing up in Miami. I didn't know prostitutes were really a thing. No, I'm dead
For the
serious.
record,
I know,
neither do
I
I,
know.
Justin. I've never
No,
interacted with
I'm
them.
telling you, I didn't know. Like, I had never met one. I had never heard anybody talk about
Yeah.
it. All I knew was a shut up boy and talk with your pads. And if you don't do this, you're going to hell. I grew
Yeah.
up in the
Wow.
deep South.
Right.
I grew up in the deep South. Like, get to work. It ain't about talking. Get to work. Don't be arrogant.
All I'm thinking of is Bobby Boucher and the
Yeah.
mother being
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
devil.
Yeah,
You know?
it is a devil. So, for me, I was in an atmosphere where I knew I wanted to be better. Of course, there were people going to bars and drinking. They were doing
Yeah.
it a lot. I just knew that wasn't the man I wanted to be.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Because I'm trying to, like, we're similar age, a few years older than you. And I'm like, what's the commonality here, right? We both played football, college football. We're both out here doing shows. We're out there. But I grew up in Miami, nightlife, South Beach. I mean, my first club I went to, I was 16 years old. Okay, you grew up in Monroe, Louisiana. And you said that at the end of the day, just shut up and work.
Yeah.
Like, as a man, it is your job to work. No dude can be like, we have a whole discussion about this. Women can kind of make a choice. Like, at what point do you not want to work?
No.
Like, okay, right. At what point are you like, all right, dude, like, women have to make a choice at one point in their life. They need to say, all right, I need to become the best wife, mother I can possibly be, or I'm doubling, tripling down on the work thing. To be in limbo as a woman, it's like, I kind of do this, and I kind of do this. I'm kind of a good girlfriend, and I'm kind of working. It's like limbo is the last place you want to be. But as a man, whether you grew up in Monroe, Louisiana, or Miami Beach, or Philly, it's like, get your ass to work, homie. And that's the underlying factor. And that's the main reason we're on this stage right now. So you grew up in Philly? Is that where it was?
No, I originally grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So North Carolina.
Yeah, I originally
Gotcha.
grew
But
up
you
in
live in
Raleigh.
Philly now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything that we're talking about here, like, because you just turned 30. So we're talking about not wasting your 20s. Give us some insight to what you did in your 20s to get you to this point right now and how you envision your 30s. Because Justin said this before we start the show. Most people don't look past 40.
Yep.
Most people don't look past 40. And I told the story about how I even started my entire money brand. Dude, I'm in Vegas one day. I'm 34, 35 years old. Okay, this is 5, 6, 7 years ago. And at that point, I found success in my life. Like, by the way, what age would you say you found success?
I keep moving the goalpost. How do you define
Okay.
it?
For me, at least my markers, I was 35, 36 years old. I had $1 million in the bank. I was in, I had a relationship, serious relationship at the time. I was good with my family. I hit a bunch of markers. And I was looking for that next thing to do in life. I'm going somewhere with this. And I'm hungover at a financial conference. And I'm in the back of the room. And I don't know why they have financial conferences in Vegas. It's like so beyond me. And I hear wah, 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 and the speaker goes, and that's why all millennials are going to be broke. And I'm like, huh? I perk my head up, and they call it, everyone has an aha moment. I was like, well, hold on, what? What'd you say? All millennials are going to be, and I'm the oldest millennial, right? So I said, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, I just explained it all. I'm like, dude, I'm hungover. I'm sorry about that. And he went on to say, like, people are living longer, Social Security won't be there, people aren't saving enough, college debt, mortgage rates are out of control, and he went down a list of things of why, like, millennials are going to end up broke. And I go, oh shit, I'm the youngest person in the room. I'm 35 at the time. You know what they say about the financial insurance industry, that it's MPS, male, pale, and stale? It's all old white dudes. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do about it, guys? And they all like laugh in the room. They're like, that's your job, young buck. I'm like, oh shit. And I lit a fire under me. Lit a fire, because I was like, what are we gonna do about this? We gotta teach these millennials to start saving money. Life is long. You know, they say that like life is short. Life is fucking long. Look how many, used to die at 65, 70. People live to 80, 90, 100, no problem. So and this term, and this is what Justin sparked this, thank you, is that people don't look past 40. How did you say it?
Yeah, people don't consider their life past 40
People
years
don't
old.
consider their life past 40. And what I always say is, you're 25 now, you're gonna be 30. All right, you're 30, you're gonna be 40. The odds are you're gonna be 50. You're going to be 60. Congratulations, start prepping for your 90th birthday, because people live that long at this point. So, and I would always get, like Bernie Sanders would always say, he's like, do you understand that half the retirees in this country, they're 65, they retire with no money? I'm like, Bernie, I totally agree with you on that. None of your philosophies or money principles make any sense to me, but that is accurate. So I've always had this like non-myopic view of life. It's like, all right, where am I gonna be at 40? Where am I gonna be at 50? How do I wanna retire? You talking about the rocking chair thing?
Yeah.
So fucking powerful.
Yeah.
So for you, circling back to you, Q, what did you do in your 20s to get you to this point, and how do you envision your 30s? Because you're going to be 37 like Justin. You're going to be 42 like Adam at some point. What's your advice for the 20 and 30-year-olds out there?
Well, it's discipline. It was a transitory period for me because my goal was always basketball. So once I figured out like that's not going to happen, I knew that I had to redirect all the work that I put in. I had to extrapolate that to another domain of life, which became behavioral research and science, relationships, humans. So initially, because I didn't have my dad growing up, so there was nobody in my ear telling me what I really needed to do. I have an uncle and a grandfather who are the epitome of men to me. They set perfect examples, but they weren't there on a consistent basis the way my father would have needed to be. And I always wonder, if he was in my life to instill certain things in me, how successful would I be relative to how successful I am now? And now I have the luxury of figuring that out. I've enjoyed the process because I've learned from my mistakes. So what I would say is definitely discipline. I don't party, I don't club. I never really been interested in those things. Women was my thing. So like I was dating a lot in college, dating around, and that's when my uncle told me when I was about 21, he was like, listen, you got to keep your mind in the books and off the girls. And that's the first thing, that's the first actual direct guidance and insight he provided me with. And after I got my heart broken by my first love, it clicked. I was like, you know what? I need to buckle down. I need to settle down. I need to figure out what it is that I want to do, where I want to be, and who I want to be by the time I'm this age, by the time I'm 35, by the time I'm 40. Understand that instant gratification is not a thing that men often experience. Everything is progression. It's work. It takes time. You're not going to get rich overnight. The rags to riches story is 1 in a million. So you have to figure out what it is that you want to do, and you have to buckle down and strive towards that. You have to eliminate whatever distractions there are, whether that's going out, whether that's wasting time doing whatever it is that you waste time on, getting sidetracked with the wrong crowds, all of that stuff. I eliminated all that stuff. I kept doing research, studying, figuring out what it is that I need to do in order to get where I want to be.
Respect on that. This leads to the next question. I want to open it up to everybody here. This concept of work-life balance, right? Everyone's want to have a good work-life balance. So for me, it's at this point in my life, you know, they say like the rule of 3, simplify it. I got my career, my profession, which is in finance. It's for a hedge fund, right? And that's, people don't even know that I have that job. That's just what I'm doing. And then I have a side hustle, which is this, which has turned into a full-on career as well. And then there's my social life, personal life, right? Whether that's dating women, going out, having fun, all that. How do you find the balance in life? Like, in my opinion, you can't have more than 3. So, and most people need to focus on their work more than anything. But like, people don't know, you have a construction real estate business. People go online, they look at Jay Waller, they're like, oh, this good-looking gentleman, he's traveling the world, and Andrew Tate, fresh and fit, he's this male rights advocate. He's like, no, he's fucking put in work in Monroe, Louisiana, and because he found success, now he's doing this, just kind of like me. We're actually very aligned in that regard. How do you view work-life balance at this point?
Work-life balance is absolutely fucking bullshit. I hate when people try to push it onto me. Oh, you got to find balance. Because that's one thing that's going to happen. People are going to start to see you work hard, and they're going to come up to you at Thanksgiving, and they're going to be like, you know, you need to take a break, or why don't you eat some of this cake? You need to gain some weight. Fuck you, Aunt Sally. Fuck you. You're broke, you can't pay your bills, and you're overweight. I have 175 employees now. We have over 100 doors. And to be quite honest with you, to answer your question previously, success to me is you make the money. Making millions of dollars a year is good, but if you don't find a way to keep it and make it grow, then you're just going to be broke in 10 years.
Yeah.
So to me, the real estate was a big deal to me. Making sure that I'm buying apartment buildings. I just walked outside and closed the trailer, like finished closing the trailer park in Ohio. We got another one in Louisiana. We got 64 more in apartment buildings in Louisiana, and I'm not done buying them. So the old man's telling me to get to work. I'm a young man, and I still have plenty of work to do. I joke and say I'm old, but there's still plenty to do. I don't enjoy work-life balance because I've found that most of my happiness comes from feeling like I'm growing, and that any social setting or any attention I want to get from a woman happens via the man that I have become. I believe in absorbing women far, far more than I believe in chasing them. Because if you can become the right kind of man, it creates a gravitational pull.
What does that mean, absorbing women?
Absorbing.
Attracting.
Yeah, attracting gravity to you. A lot of men, they're hollow and they have not done the work, so they chase women, and like a double magnet, it just pushes them away. If you become that man and they come in your sphere, it just sucks them in.
We go up and talk to you at the party.
Is that-
Yeah.
What about
We
what
did the
Justin
move.
just said resonated with you? Because as you're talking, Amber's like, she was like that black girl, like, oh, like,
Just about feeling energy, like we were talking about earlier. Is that like if you're doing the work, and you don't have to go out and get the girl because we feel it, we see it, and it's not just what you're doing, but you like the person that you are, and that resonates. So yeah, I'll see that person, I'll feel them, and I will approach. He says he doesn't need to do the work and chase, because I bet probably you think if somebody understands you on an energetic level and they're attracted to that, then it's your vibe creates your tribe.
ooh,
Yeah.
your
So
vibe creates your tribe. I like that.
right. So if you're in a circle of doing things that you're passionate about, other people are going to come to that as well. Obviously, you have to filter out the girls who are just looking for the money or the status, or the people who just want to piggyback on your. But you can always feel those people.
It's
You know, you
super,
can
it's
always
super
feel
easy
it.
to know.
It is.
It's super
Yeah.
easy to know.
Let me go back to you for a second. So I actually agree with you on the concept of work-life balance, because I think a man needs to work. We had the conversation with on PBD show with a guy, Kyle Kalinske, who's a very big political talker, political YouTuber guy, and we were talking about this concept, this 4-day work week. And he's like, yeah, I think that that's a good thing, and people need to work less. And I was like, I'm like, but what about the people that want to work 6 days a week? What about the people that will actually want to create something? So I think you kind of have the ability to choose your work-life balance. So I'm much like you. I like to work. Like, it could be Saturday, I wake up, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal, I'm prepping for a show. I'm like, I like that work.
But I think you're missing a word that's very important, and it's passion.
Okay.
When you are passionate about your work, it becomes your life, and you enjoy your life because you're doing the things that you want to do. So that's why for me, my friends knock on me all the time because I'm out every night doing comedy because I love it. And it's become my social life. And my friends are involved in that because they're also in the same trenches.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying, but your work is your passion.
Right.
So my work for the hedge fund, I don't wake up and be like, time to hedge fund it up. I love this shit. It's like, no, it's how I make money. Like, sometimes you make money and it ain't sexy. Something tells me there's nothing sexy about putting on them boots, putting in the mud, going and check out trailer parks, construction, but you put in the freaking work.
I mean, I think that's sexy.
Okay, but the point is, there's a lot of things you would rather be doing, I'm assuming, that are more fun than the work, but it's a part of your life. It's part of your work ethic. It's not your passion, is it?
No, but I would tell you this. There's two things I would say about that. First of all, I no longer really have to do that in the same way. So it's not what I'm doing, but how I'm doing it. I have a team. Everybody's on salary. I'm the youngest person that is even in that office when I'm in that office. I have there's a lot of structure set up, and it took me over a decade to build that. They're bonus structures, how we measure
Did you hear that, by the
KPIs.
way, guys? It took him over a decade
Yep.
to build that.
Yep.
People think a decade, it's like, How
Yep.
quick did 27 to 37 go?
Yeah, quick.
Snap of the finger.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
And so it's how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then, past that, I spoke to some kids about 4 years ago, and they wanted me to talk to them about college and all that, and passion and all this stuff. And I am a big believer that you don't create or have passion until you get so competent and so good at something that someone else needs you and you can help them. There's nothing like walking into a job trailer and there's a leak or something wrong on the roof, and they tell me where it is, and I say, okay, because the guy didn't put the mastic in at the top of the parapet wall on the upward leg of the transition trim, and they're like, what? No fucking way. I'm like, I promise you. Call me back in 3 days, and like, that is exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell
And
that
it comes
asshole to
down
put
to
it
experience.
in.
You 10 years of that. The problem that I've seen, and this is why I'm so thankful what happened with this reset, crypto. How many young kids were going out and telling people who've worked in finance their whole life, you guys don't know shit. Like, why? Put in the work, saving, investing, 401ks, Roth IRAs, index fund, everything you've been talking about for years and years and years. All I do is buy Dogecoin, and I'm a billionaire now.
Good.
It's like, that is not how life works. And this whole reset. So,
You know what?
It takes fucking time, and this is what happens. Yeah.
We'll be buying their Lambos at a discounted price.
Facts.
So,
Nat, did you want to weigh in on something here?
Do I want to? I was going to read the super chats. If you want me to read the
Okay,
super
go for it,
chats.
girl.
Yes. Okay, so let me pull them up. So thank you all for the super chats. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. First, we'll start off with Happy. Happy's back. Super chat. You ever noticed when God made Justin Waller, he just gave him max stats across the board? The Lord certainly does have his favorites.
Yeah, well, this is what I was saying. It's like when Justin Waller's trying to teach you about game, I'm like, Justin, come on. But there are two Jay
But he
Wallers.
but
built
that
it.
is the point,
Yes.
is that I don't believe in game. I believe in building it.
Yeah.
And I never forget the first interview I ever did with Rolo. There were guys just talking shit. Chad. And I sent him a photo of me where I was fat, broke, out of shape, all of it.
Yeah,
You build it.
yeah,
You build it.
100%.
I see 6'2" guys in Walmart all the time, 40 pounds overweight with blue eyes and a perfect set of hair. And I'm like, thank God this dude's a fucking loser,
Yeah.
because he's got it all. I see guys all the time. They got it all. They have it.
Why do you think men slip like that? What
He had
happens
to
in their
build
life?
himself, like internally, and
Yeah.
that comes out on the outside. Whereas
Heartbreak.
people are just born with it. They walk around and they don't do any of that internal work. They don't know what it's like to be that. So it's a different kind of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would argue that more men out there are actually a Chad, and they'll never know it. Because they'll never be willing to do those things or inspire themselves in a way to see a vision of who they could become, and for that reason they don't.
Do you think that those guys, this is just pure speculation, those guys who are 40 years old, let's say, and they've let themselves go and they're 30 pounds overweight, if not more, and they're kind of struggling, maybe they're, things aren't where they should be. Do you think those guys are more often single in 40 or married at 40?
I think married. I think there's something inside of a man that dies inside a little bit when he gets married and he can't hunt anymore.
Yeah.
That's probably not a popular statement, but I do think on a primal level that's very true.
The reason I ask that is because all my friends are married, okay? And I don't know too many single guys who are 40, right? Like just straight up single. The guys who I do know that I hang out with in Miami that are 40, these guys are the studs of the studs, the Jay Wallers of the world that they made their money, they put in the work, they're not settling down, they got a roster of chicks they got going on. They're, jet setting, they're in Aspen, they're in Miami, like these guys are killing it. But my other friends who are 40, you're right, there is something that kind of dies inside, but it's the hunter in them. But at the same time, they are raising kids. So what, it's kind of like they kind of had to kill their old self to raise these kids. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. My whole vision is do both.
Yep,
be
absolutely.
a fucking stud, be
Absolutely.
a hunter,
Do 'em
and
all.
also raise great kids.
Yep.
Like you can do both. It doesn't have to be like,
can.
yeah, well, that's it. I'm retired now. Time to be a loser.
Well, I
Right.
think
Yeah, go ahead.
I think a lot of it is they lose motivation. And what's interesting enough is there's actually research. You said you think they're married. Men their testosterone levels tend to decrease when they get in relationships. And
Increase or decrease?
Decrease.
Absolutely decrease. Yeah.
Decrease. And if you're talking about testosterone decreasing, you look at the risk-taking behavior, the pursuit of women, the feeling competitive, all that stuff dies with it. So if there's a way for a man to remain feeling motivated once he gets married, he has to tap into that. He has to look outside of what he has going on. He needs some inspiration. He needs some outside inspiration, some outside motivation, because they get comfortable. And then that's what leads to them getting fat, overweight, they get depressed, they get stressed.
And that's when the wife leaves them because she's like,
she'll leave his ass because it's not the man she married. But guess what?
Yeah.
That married man, men invent, build, and maintain society in pursuit of women.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
For sure.
Every man that wakes up and goes lays rows or puts bricks on a building or invents something or produces something and creates a big business, it is on the most primal level in pursuit of women. He gets married and that gets taken away from him, he starts to die inside. It's nothing against marriage. It's nothing against women. It's nothing against family. I believe in all of those things. I'm all about having a family and taking care of a woman completely. But if you take that one little part that drives a man, he will die inside. Now, he can be a coward and live in the shadows of that, or he can just step the fuck up and be the kind of man that tells the truth and, hey, this is how it's going to be. I love you. I'll never leave you, but this is what it's going to be. Or you can be that coward that cheats behind a woman's back and she leaves him because he was too much of a bitch to stand up and tell her the truth.
Bro, this is such an important conversation to have right now, because we have 3 single women who I think are awesome women, right? And I'm thinking to myself, you have to set the tone with the girl you're dating ahead of time to say, hey, look, because men want freedom by nature. I just want to fucking roam. I just want to do my thing. I want to, roam the earth and do my thing. And women want commitment. It's the hunter-gatherers that's in millions of years in our DNA. It's like, what kind of conversation do you need to have with your girl up front to be like, look, because obviously the girl wants a commitment. And obviously it's on some level, the guy also wants to commit to the girl. Like I tell my guys all the time, dude, we're 40 years old, we're having fun, we're in the club. I'm not doing this when I'm 50, bro.
Right.
Like at some point we're gonna have to, hold them or fold them type of thing. But when you push your chips in the middle, it's such a nuanced and respectful conversation you have to be with your girl, where it's like, I'm gonna be with you. I'm with you. I wanna be here with you. But you gotta understand, what's got me to the point where I'm even with you, right? The reason you like me because I'm confident and I'm a businessman and I'm out there and I'm networking and I'm making money and I'm successful and I'm charismatic. The reason that I am this person is because I haven't been tied down and just like at the whim of my woman. So it's like, I want to keep this person, but also commit to you. You see what I'm saying right here? Like there needs to be some sort of conversation and balance, because we all know women leave men 70 to 80% of the time. They file for divorce almost 90% of the time when they're college educated. So the better the woman, the higher the educated a woman, when you let yourself go, the more she's likely to leave you. So I think it's very important to have that conversation up front, to be like, this is what I stand for. This is what I do. But at the same time, I'm here for you. Like, what does your research show, and what conversations have you had with women that you can kind of amplify for the men out there? And by the way, I want to get...
I was going to say, can we weigh in on
Yeah, I want to get the women's thoughts on, what do you want to hear from a dude telling you this? Like, hey, I'm your man, but I'm also going to kind of continue hunting out there, so to speak. What does your research show in this regard?
It's not even necessarily the research. You can just make observations. What I tell the women that I date is, tell me when my shit stink. Tell me when I'm not up to par. Let me know when I'm doing something or I'm falling off. Like, I'll use an example. I was in a basketball game a couple years ago. I was in a college basketball game, and I was getting down on myself, and my girl didn't find that attractive. I actually dated a girl who played for the Division I school that I went to too. She was on the team, and she looked at me and she said, "Are you gonna fucking score 14 points straight?" Like, that's what I want. That's what I want, because at the end of the day, if I'm dating a woman, I'm always looking for ways that I can improve and please her, to get her to love me more, to keep her invested. That's me on a personal level. So when I feel that competitive instinct dying out a little bit, or I feel I'm getting complacent, then I need her to let me know, listen, you're not being attractive to me right now. That'll get me right back where I need to be.
How old were you at that time?
I was 26.
So you were
There's
young
a lot
still.
of men who could not handle comments like that.
Right. Well, he asked for it.
I know. That's
What
good.
kind of conversations are you having with girls these days? If like, I'm not like, without getting too personal into your personal life, there's girls who you just casually date, whatever. It's no big deal. It's just more transactional, physical. And then there's girls you probably have a little more meaningful relationships with. I'm willing to bet that. What kind of conversation do you have with the more meaningful women, like who probably want to lock you down, but they understand that you kind of need to roam? How do you balance that conversation?
I think what's most important to a woman is knowing that she has position with you, to know that she has something special that other people don't have. She has a part of you that other people don't have, and that you prove that to her. So if you decide to have children with her, you have the children, you're retired now, you don't have to do, I will take care of you. It's about protecting and providing at that point. And they need to know that you're never going to leave. And it'd be ideal if they would help you. That way, instead of you doing it behind their back, it's just something you could do together. You make her a part of that. You understand
You
what
like
I'm saying?
that, Jamie?
Yeah,
Jamie,
Absolutely.
What did you like about that, Jamie?
I would much rather be like, are you talking about like
Yeah, I am.
incorporating like threesomes or
Yeah,
something?
absolutely.
Yeah, like being able to do that with my partner rather than them doing it behind my back. Because I think what women want is a choice. When you lie and manipulate to get your way,
It's
you're
the deceit.
taking away
Absolutely. It's
a
the deceit
woman's
that breaks
choice,
hearts. Yep.
and that makes a woman go crazy. Whereas you're like, hey, this is how it's gonna be. I would like this. I'm into this. Then you give the woman the choice to be like, you know what? Let me weigh out the pros and cons. I can hang with this.
Yeah, and let me tell you why women stay. Because they look at it and they know deep in their heart that I'm not doing anything any other man would not do if he could. And a woman smart enough to know that and say, wait a second, he came to me and told me the truth. He set me down, he held my hand, he looked in my eyes and told me he loved me, he's not leaving. All he wants me to do is help or understand and know that he's not leaving. Then what the fuck else? I mean, look, because you're going to leave me for a man you love less that's going to cheat on you anyway and lie to you like a coward.
Well, let me ask you this, because this
For
is
sure.
everything with these types of conversations take nuance and discussion and communication, and this kind of comes down to the concept of hypergamy. When you were 24, not making any money, had no success, you can't tell some girl to be like, listen, I got you. I'm just take care of all your bills. Trust me, we're going to do this. You couldn't have done that at 24. I certainly couldn't do it at 24. At 42, this is a conversation I'm still working on right now. So, like, when the concept of hypergamy and dating up, if you don't have money and if you don't have status and if you don't have a net worth
But
or
you
even
should have
self-worth at that
character.
point, okay, character can only get you so far. Young men out there, like there's some 19-year-old kid out there that's watching this that's like, so listen, baby, here's the deal. I'm going to do what I want to do, explore my options. She's like, you're 19, you're broke, you live with your mom. Like, you're not, what are you talking about? So, like, there's a level of maturity and sort of graduating in life to even have that option.
Yeah, there's a
Don't you
runway to
think?
get off the ground. That's why I
Yeah.
say give up your 20s. Look, and that's the thing. It doesn't mean that you're not ever going to sleep with a woman in your 20s. Women bet on men. Women bet on men. So when you're going this way, women are going to see that a guy going that way. She's just going to jump in front of you. You're going to run over it. Okay, good for you. Slept with a girl. Good. But that should never, and I just made a video about this the other day. It's like a man should never value his worth based off of the number of women he slept with. Because honestly, any guy that has his shit together at all can sleep with a girl every day, a new girl every day, every hour of every day. That's not what makes a good man. Build yourself up, have the confidence build from within inside of you, and then you can have the confidence to sit down and have a real conversation, not just I think you're pretty.
Yeah.
Hey, this is how I'm going to live my life. I respect you. Let's have kids. I'm going to be an incredible father. I'm going to be in their life. I'm going to take care of you in every way. I'm going to love you. I'm going to be there when you're crying. I'm going to be there when you just need to talk. I'm going to be the rock that all your emotional waves crash you. I am fucking here.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is like when you can build yourself up to have options and the option of saying yes and even more powerful saying no. Because like we talked about at the beginning of the show, a girl hollering at you. Most guys, if a girl hollers at them, most guys, not the way, aren't being hollered at by women.
Exactly. They're
But
gonna jump
most
on that
guys, what is
opportunity.
it, 1/3 of men under 30 haven't even slept with a girl. Yeah. It's so powerful as a confident, attractive man. If a girl hits on you and you say, baby, I'm good. What?
Oh, I'll
most
tell
men
you.
cannot
So
say
hot.
that to
I'll
a
tell
girl.
you another thing.
Yes.
We talk about game, but I think one thing that's way more important than game is frame. And there is a very, very large power in a girl acting in a way that you do not agree with and her trying to have sex with you and you roll over and not sleep with her.
Yeah.
Because you take that power away from her, and she knows that you're a man of real honor, real fucking honor. Not just, oh, I was mad at you, but I'll have sex with you. No, bitch, no dick for you tonight, because you're gonna act right. And I'm not trying to dominate women, but I do believe if there is not this hierarchy between a man and a woman where she looks up to you in some way, if she thinks that y'all are peers and y'all are gonna argue and shit, dude, if you argue with a woman, you are showing her that you are a child. You have to be emotionally stable and strong and intelligent and lead the family and lead the relationship. If you cannot do that, your game and everything else is out the window.
And we all know that women will sometimes try to pick fights just to kind of test you.
As they should.
I went viral for a
They just
video
wanna be
saying don't
loved.
argue with women. That was actually the
You
first
should
video
never
on
argue
TikTok.
with a woman.
I made a video on TikTok before they banned it, but it had like 600,000 views in like 3 days. When I was
They
like,
banned it? Why?
They banned my TikTok. Period. For like, it's like I'm on my 14th TikTok.
Jesus.
So yeah,
Okay.
so I said don't argue with women. Got like 500,000 views in like 3 days. It was on the Spiritual Word on Instagram with like 1 million followers. Got 1 million views on Twitter. Nobody even tagged me in it. I didn't even know I was on it. But yeah, I went viral for saying that, and I was basically talking about, when women argue, well, women definitely pick fights. Sometimes they get bored, they need drama, they need that excitement. But in regards to why you shouldn't, one, it can be a turnoff to them. But the angle that I was explaining it from was that men sit down and have conversations about the realities. We have conversations a lot of times when you look at men engage in conversations or debates, it's for status, it's to establish truth, facts for improvement, to move along to some degree. Women, they want to discuss their feelings, they want to be validated, they want attention. And the lens that they perceive the world through, you often hear them say when they describe something as mean, rude, good, bad, unfair, that should be or that shouldn't be, as opposed to what actually is. And that's why I say if you get caught up in that, then you're essentially trying to teach a woman something where she wants you to validate her feelings. And there's times where in a relationship with a woman, you have to show some tough love. You have to be a little difficult. You have to let her know things that you don't like and you don't approve of. And that comes in the form of commitment a lot of times with me. Like Justin was saying, he can turn over and not have sex. That shows your strength as a man. I'm even further than that with commitment. If you can't act right, then you won't receive the commitment from me that you need to receive, because I need you to be on my program. I need you to understand that if I criticize you, if I judge you, it's in love. It's for improvement. It's me keeping you on the up and up about, listen, I need you to do this. You didn't do this well, or I need this from you. You're not up to par in this regard or this aspect, and they'll personalize that. Oh, they feel attacked. They get defensive. They hold you in contempt. All things that erode the relationship from the foundation, and you have to help her understand that. Listen, I love you. I'm telling you this because I love you. I want us to work. But if you cannot see that in the way in which I love you, we're not going to work to begin with.
Amber, let me get your opinion on this. You hear a man like this talking. By the way, he got canceled for talking like this. Justin, I'm not sure if you've had any accounts banned or anything like this, but there's a lot of guys like there who kind of talk like this. But hey, this is toxic, guys. Having standards and having opinions is a little toxic these days. You're hearing this. You're a pretty reasonable girl. Is this a turn on? Is this a turn off? Is this like when you hear a man be like, no, this is the way it is. This is how you got to act right, blah, blah. Is this do you want a man who kind of talks like this? Or is this is there some element of a woman that's like, you can't tell me what to do. I do my own thing. What are your thoughts on what he's saying?
You deserve to be with a person who aligns with your values. There's a million bajillion people and options out there. So if you have a standard, again, vibe attracts your tribe. You should be able to tell them. And if they want to adjust because they love you so much and they want to be better and they do see that you're coming from, to be honest, of all the people I've heard you interact with, and these two are my favorites so far.
Me too.
Because I just don't feel the animosity towards women. I feel that you genuinely want them to improve and be on your standard. I don't feel the harsh criticism, but there is one thing that I wanted to circle back to, because we are coming from a lot of male perspective. You said that something in a man dies when he gets married because he's no longer able to hunt. I think it's also important to to notice that we're people, not just men and women. Something in everyone dies when you get married, because women also, everybody, women, men want to feel validated, not just by the partner you've chosen who's with you for the last 10, 15 years, but by publicly and society. So it's not just something that dies in men, it's something that dies in women as well. The interesting thing would be, how do you find something that can replace what you've lost by being publicly validated, by getting to sleep with whoever you want, without being unloyal, infidelity, without practicing that? So you said if you're a high value man, you should be able to sit down your woman and say, this is what I'm going to do. What is her option? She just has to find that validation by being fulfilled for being a mother. And not every woman feels fulfilled. I mean, that's a great thing to do. But you just said, men, they're raising kids and there's still something missing. So what can we all do? I think that right now as a society, we're very image centric, more so than ever before. Back in the 1900s and that time period where we weren't staring at pictures of our faces all the time and having these public displays of our brand all the time. So we're getting validated. We're getting addicted to that kind of validation. So what can we all do, not just men and women, but together, to find some kind of peace and motivation and energy to be together and still become our best selves without having to just seek validation from other people?
Here's what I'll tell you, and this is literally the reason that I want to have these types of conversations with, guys who really know their shit, and also women who aren't just like dumb,
airheads,
dumb, 304s, as they say, is because you have a say in this as well. I want to hear your perspective as well. We all know that when we go out and do guys' night, and it's guys' night, it's like at the end of the day, it's like, all right, let's go find some chicks at some point. We can't just do guys' night for the whole point is having these conversations.
We complement each other.
Yeah, of
energetically, of course.
One of the things I always say is Nat is she's like, one of the reasons I love you, Saz, is because you don't just shit on women. It's like, you love women. You get along with women. You're friends with women. Like, you're cool with women. We're cool. At the same time, there's women out there that I'll party with, have a good time with, hang with, kick it with. I ain't marrying these women. So there's a big difference with that. So you're right. You do have a seat at the table. Women's happiness is paramount to relationships, because we all just talked about this. 80% of the time, the woman is going to file for the divorce anyway. So if the women ain't happy, so we talked about men keeping up their end of the bargain, it's just as important for the man to keep his shit together as the leader of the household, because if he slips, gets fat, doesn't fucking keep his life intact, the woman's going to leave him anyway. So if you're starting a life with somebody, everything you said is very accurate. Go ahead, Justin.
I want to make a statement. And first of all, I want to say this before I say it. Everything you just said, I agree with, and I think it's completely fair. And I think that if a man is in a relationship with a woman and a woman asks that question, he owes her to sit down and talk through how he can fulfill her in that way. It's going to be very traditional if it were me, but I think it's a very fair question, a very intelligent question. Now I'll say my statement. I've found that if a woman is actually head over heels in love with you, the only intention in the world that she wants is from you, and it's mostly your time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when a woman is really, really, really head over heels in love with you, no other man exists.
Yep.
So figuring out ways to make sure that you are giving her the attention that she needs and the time that she needs and the care that she needs so she can feel fulfilled is probably the way that conversation would go if you were in truly, truly, truly in love with said man. If that weren't enough, I think any man that really, really loves a woman would be willing to open up to have that conversation on a deeper level, if I'm being fair. So I agree with you. I don't think hating women is the answer. And in fact, one thing that I want to make really, really clear is I think that men and women are absolutely equal. They just do things in different ways. I don't hate women at all. In fact, I love them. Women are the thing that make this life worth doing.
Yeah,
it.
You did a post recently that got a lot of love, and it kept getting reposted and reposted and reshared. It was a story, something like that. You did. It was like a couple days ago.
Maybe about
You were like, shout out to the mothers out there. What was it that you did?
Yeah. Here, let me look.
I'm not making this up, right? That was Jay Waller. It might have been a fake account. You got fake ones.
No, it was me.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I'll find it
Okay.
real quick.
While you're finding that, Nat, do you want to get to a couple quick super chats and then we'll go on to the next topic?
Yes, let me pull them up real quick for us.
Doing two things at once. We're multitasking.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
So
women.
super chats. We're back at it. We have Grayos Vision. Shout out to Valuetainment for the fire content and Waller for keeping it real. Check out your Instagram later for photo edits. Then we have from Homie Clicks. Free the Tates. Jay Waller, my brother. We will win. Like the stream chat. Yeah, guys. Make sure you
That's
guys
right.
like the chat. Yeah.
It's easy
Like
to
the-
win when you're innocent.
Yeah. Then we have one from TRC23, Manitoba Winning Peg. Love, thank you, all of Valuetainment team, great people. Mario, Kai, Natalia, wish I would have played Adam Sosnick on one of the basketballs. Love Miami, love General Patrick Bet-David. And then we have some just straight money from Ray. Ray, we appreciate you. Then we also have the same from Chuk Would Like Anumba. You guys are
Nat,
like,
just do me a
roasting
favor,
with these
real
like
quick.
names.
Quick pause of the show. Nat, look
Yeah.
right in the camera.
Yes.
And just give one of your beautiful smiles
Hello,
out there.
everyone.
Go ahead, Nat.
Hello,
We're
everyone.
taking a break from
Happy
our sponsor,
Thursday.
Nat's Dentist, right now.
I know.
Thanks,
Yes.
thanks for being here.
Shout out to my dentist.
What's his name?
I forgot his name.
Anyway, shout out to the guy that she forgot his name. But shout out-
orthodontist.
Anyway.
Then I have one more
yeah.
chat. No?
Go ahead.
Okay,
Finish
last
it.
chat. I'll read it, and then we'll get back to the rest of them. Shanzi, OnlyFans is selling fentanyl. Content creators, thank you and appreciate your fans. OnlyFans creators, they sometimes talk down to the simps. The past matters because it determines your parenting. Dennis Richard supports her daughter's OnlyFans. $50. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
super chat.
Deli, can we put the wide shot up a little bit to get less of the
Everyone in
stage
there.
and more of that? Sorry to do that. Jay Waller, you had something that kind of went viral the other day, and all the girls were reposting it. What was that?
Yeah. It said, it was a tweet. It said, "Ladies, I care for you. Please know that having children is one of the most beautiful expressions of strength and love you could give to the world. We need you. Mothers are heroes. Don't let the world tell you otherwise."
And that got reshared so many
Yeah.
freaking times.
You don't hear it enough.
It's true.
Yeah.
don't
We're
hear
trying to
enough.
build all these bad bitches, and I guess to me, I have opinions about why. I think that you get to get taxes from twice the number of people, but telling women to go against their natural, innate, primal urge to be a mother and be nurturing is the biggest pile of bullshit. Paying women to freeze their eggs, helping women get abortions. It's absolute horseshit. I tweeted yesterday, and there was a bit of satire in it, but I said, if your country is having more funerals than baby showers, you are in deep shit. Mm-hmm. And then I followed it by saying I would be willing to have babies with all the hot single women. But I believe that's absolutely true. And I think that women are going to find themselves very, very sad if they buy into that bullshit. And, I think the joke about the box wine and the cats is very true. I don't think that men and women need to hate each other. I don't think there's a wrong side or a right side. I think it's very hard for both. Imagine being a beautiful woman and every man that was actually in your league told you that he wanted to see multiple women. You think that's fucking easy for a woman to accept when she's been told her whole life that he's got to be this or that? So to me, I don't think any side is wrong or right. I think it's really about working together and understanding how we're kind of wired and then making it work from there.
I think. Go ahead, Q.
And that's the bottom line, because a lot of the content we see online, especially in certain communities, they talk about what we find attractive as opposed to actually what maintains relationships. And in order to maintain a relationship, the woman actually has to have a say. There has to be a component of empathy. There has to be a component of understanding what she wants, how to meet that, the standards, the requirements, etc. All that has to be incorporated into your relationship. That masculinity and that femininity has to integrate to where it works for both of you in the way that you can optimize that relationship satisfaction. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that because it's become adversarial. It's, women need to do this, men need to do this, somebody's not doing it right. It's often on both sides to where both people aren't doing something correctly in a relationship, and both should self-reflect and figure out how to meet in that medium.
Well,
completely agree.
it's what we talked about a little bit earlier about not being able to look past 40. And I would there's the term that in the business world, they talk about, hey, due diligence. Hey, before we do this deal, I need to do my due diligence. And what I would recommend to any man and woman out there is, go find somebody who you want to be like and ask them, hey, what's it like being a 40-year-old millionaire single dude? I'm like, well, it's fucking great. Hey, honey, what's it like being like a 40-year-old career woman who's single? And you get the responses from some of these women,
Shit.
and they're like, oh, yeah, I really didn't expect this, right? I really wanted to be married at such an age. And I asked women, so like, for a man, life is like a highway, right? They say life is a highway, right? And for a man, it's very easy to just fucking get in your car, drive down the highway of life. You might have to switch lanes a little bit, but just stay your ass on that highway. For a woman to be fulfilled like as a mother, at some point, whether that's at 30 or 32 or 35 or whatever age, you're gonna need to pull off the highway, go to a rest station for 2, 3, 5, 10 years because you want to get married and raise kids. And then at some point, you're gonna want to get back on the highway. And it's understanding, it's like, what's life like getting off that highway, right? Because that's biology. If you love women and love being a mother, then you have to understand, you're not going to be doing stand-up comedy while breastfeeding. That's just...
I mean, have you seen Ali Wong?
Yeah, there's only one Ali Wong, though. So it's understanding, it's like, what's your life going to be like at 40, at 45? And where I'm at in my life right now, and I'm sure you're starting to get to this point as well, is all my friends are in their late 30s, early 40s. And there's many women out there that I'm still friends with that I'm like, why are you still single? Like, why are you out in the club still? And it breaks my heart because these were some of the hottest women back in the day. And for whatever reason, whether it's society, whether it's music, whether it's the wrong people in their ear, whether it's you don't need no man, you a bad bitch, whatever song or, soup du jour of the day, aspirational quote they read, and they end up being like, why am I still single? So my point is this: whether you're a man and you want to figure out where you're going in life, go talk to older guys and say, what's it like being married with kids? All I do is ask my married friends, so what's it like? Give me the good, the bad, the ugly of having kids. Like, let me know, because I want to get there one day. For as a woman, Amber, Jamie, awesome, amazing career women, like, I would have conversations with women who are 40 and be like, so what's it like? Tell me a little bit more. What can I expect? Is it the last thing you want to do is have regret. Like, when you're in that rocking chair of life, you don't want to be like, what if I would have done this? Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I talk to a lot of married women with kids, and they do not make it seem nice, fun at all.
Yeah, most
the majority of the women I speak to who have kids are so miserable and tired. Yes. I don't know if there's like more than, I honestly haven't spoken to many career women. I don't know that many who are just 40 and killing it and making money and don't have kids. I don't know that, but I do know a lot of girls who are my age who already have had a kid, 29 or 30, and they're on their second kid. And their relationship is shit. They're probably getting a divorce. I don't really know that many women who are like, you know what? It's also Miami. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the middle of the country, less stimulation, less options. They're just kind of like settled in. Like you said, Miami, LA, and New York are the outliers. The majority of people, they like know what their life is going to be, and they just follow the trajectory that is around them. And they're happy because they know less. They've seen less. They've experienced less. They haven't traveled around the world and seen what they could do. But to be honest, Adam, I haven't met that many women who tell me having kids was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, there's a woman on TikTok. She has a list. It's called The List. And it's a list of all of the things that could happen to you if you're pregnant and have a child as a woman. And that list is hundreds of points, like about medical complications, like weird things happening. And all of the women are banding together and they're like, this is crazy. Like, I would say I don't talk to a lot of women who are happily married and have children. They're like warning you not to do it, especially the grandmas. The grandmas are like, I just stayed with him because I wasn't educated and I had no other choice. Have fun while you're at it. So like, I think the general consensus for a lot of women is starting to become like, marriage, you're most likely to get murdered as a woman by your husband. Like the number one form of homicide.
It's true.
For women when they're married. So like, there's a lot of people who are like, this is too much of a risk. And you don't know, there's not a lot of men who can have a conversation, sit their woman down, look them in the eye and own who they are and what they want. And so a lot are manipulating and lying, and that's not the agreement that people are having. And so that's why the relationships are failing. So I think it takes both parties being able to be emotionally stable when they like express themselves and their viewpoints, and being able to be heard and have that communication. But that's what would make a marriage work. But I don't think a lot of people are that happy.
And
Two
I'm-
things.
wait,
Two
wait,
things.
wait.
Hold on.
But that doesn't mean I don't
Two
like
things.
it.
Number one, it's so paramount to have these conversations up front, these difficult conversations before you start dating, get married. What happens when you lose your job and we're together? What happens when we have kids and I can't work?
For
What
sure.
happens when we get in a fight? What happens when your mother is
If I
weighing
can't
in
have
too much?
kids.
Or like these conversations are so important. Number two, sample size. How many 40-year-old women do you know? I know a ton because I'm 40.
Right.
And the majority of them are married with kids. And the handful that are not are the ones that are basically saying, yeah, I'm freezing my eggs. I'm not happy. I'm looking for a man. So it might, whether it's city, whether it's
Yeah, I
sample
was gonna say that's
size.
the most unhappy demographic actually.
Is what?
Is the 40-year-old career women that's single with no kids.
You've seen these reaction
where's that
videos,
statistic
right?
coming from?
Have you ever seen these reaction videos of like a 50-year-old woman who's like, they kind of say like, I was fed a lie. Feminism told me to work and make my own money. You don't need no man. Now I'm 50. I've got $1 million in the bank. I've traveled the world, but I come home every day to an empty house, 2 cats, unhappy. I just took my fucking Zoloft for the 10th time today. And I have nothing going on in life because I'm working for a company that at some point can fire me anyway. And I have nothing bigger than that. I say this all the time. I said to my guys, I go, guys, we're 40 now. We're having fun. We're banging young hot chicks. That's great. We can't do this shit forever. Like there's an
could,
end in
though.
sight. Not really, because
It gets
it's
old.
not
We know
fulfilling.
some oldies.
It gets old.
Miami.
It gets old.
But it would be your choice. For a woman, you can't do it because you don't know. You
Just
no
like
longer
Justin
look.
said, men and women are equal, but we differ.
Right, but you
100%.
can just
Absolutely
keep
different.
playing because you don't have to get off the highway. You can always fuck younger. Always. We don't have that.
If you keep
option.
it together, keep it tight. Anyway, we got about a half hour left. I want to get some reactions to a couple videos and a couple stories that are obviously trending in the news, and we'll do some reaction videos. But you touched on our friend Tate earlier, and I want to bring this story up. So one of the biggest things that I always say is that your network is your net worth. You know, I've made success, and I've found success in my life by networking, being at financial conferences, being at business meetings, not being a wallflower, getting up there, saying hello, approaching, talking to people, but associated with like-minded people. That's how I met Patrick Bet-David at a financial conference 10 years ago. We met in the gym, we became buddies, we kept in touch. Next thing you know, we have a whole thing going on here at Valuetainment. So shout out to PBD. But you know, you're a major part of Andrew Tate's networking assembly, right? The War Room, and it's all, I believe
War
it's
room
called
in the real world.
the real world. It used to be Hustlers University.
That's right.
So what are the benefits of what you're seeing? You know, he gets a lot of hate out there, but I think we know on a personal level, he's way more of a net positive of the world than a net negative. And despite what the headlines say, behind the scenes, like what are you seeing on a networking level? Like who are you able to meet? What type of business transactions? What type of confidence building are you seeing being a part of that sort of network?
Well, first of all, I think the War Room is the best group, the best men's group in the world. And I don't think it's even close. You have businessmen that are like-minded from all countries trying to push each other to get better in every way, every day. And I believe that real love is dark. And so if I really love you and I want to see you succeed and you're fucking up, I'm going to tell you abruptly, and it's not going to be nice. Not because I need the ego boost, because I care about you so much, I'll jar you. I'm willing to take that risk of you being angry with me because I love you so much, I'll get in front of that anger. The War Room is truly, truly, truly that. On top of that, there's men in all industries that are titans in their industries, and there's more people joining it every day. People that are like-minded. Something that's very uncommon in this world right now is a group of like-minded men that will come together and stand up for one another. I get a lot of heat for standing up for Tate, but
Yeah.
what I find is that those cowards don't understand what it means to be loyal to another man. And for that, I think they're empty. I want to be part of something. I'll die on the hill with Andrew. Where's the sword? Where's the sword? I'll die on the hill with him. Because I know that he's innocent, number one. And number two, if a man doesn't have enough honor to stand up for their friend, especially when they're under fire, I have things to lose for standing up for Andrew. I don't give a fuck. I am not going to stop. I know he's right. And if we have to die on the hill, we die on the hill. But as far as the war room goes, there's not a better group of men in the world. And as far as, the real world goes, there's not another platform where young men can go and learn from somebody that's actually doing it. You can go to Stanford, but they're going to talk about theory. In the real world, you're going to go learn from a man who literally is making money today doing that exact task. There's not another place on the planet you can do that for $50 a month, by the way.
Right. And by the way, they changed the name from Hustlers University to
To the real world, yeah.
To the real world. So whether you're joining that group, whether you're joining a fraternity of men, whether it's a business conference, there is something very important about being around like-minded men who are building each other up and holding themselves accountable.
Absolutely.
It's not just, hey, you're the man, you're doing awesome, I love you, bro. It's, dude, you fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Here, you're getting fat, you're becoming a loser, you're drinking too much. Time to have some
And let me say something else on that subject.
Yeah.
There is complete ethics in the war room. Guys get kicked out every day for saying something illegal. They'll say some dumb shit that's not supposed to be said, and they get kicked out. There's ethics, there's values in the war room.
So there's standards there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's people that get kicked out daily, either over not performing or trying to do something that's outside the line of ethics.
I think that's very important because, especially because these people are all over the world, right? It's
Yeah.
not like they're all just living in freaking Romania.
No.
Right? So it's so easy, especially with internet culture, get rich quick type schemes, Ponzi schemes, crypto type things, for you to be like, hey guys, this is what I'm working on. It's like, you don't know somebody around the world, not cut off. Like, what have you seen in that regard where someone, without naming names, obviously, they did something and then there was like, no, this guy's got to go.
There was a situation not too long ago, a guy signed up through me and he said something that was very illegal around some passports. Cut him out. He was gone. He called me. He's like, man, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm like, bro, wish I could help you, but that's just not how the group goes.
Yeah.
So-
Because when you have such a magnified lens on you and the world is looking at it, obviously.
It was like that before.
Oh, was it?
It was like that before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. We have thought for a long time that people are in there, but they're like watching it, but it doesn't matter. It was ethical from the jump. It was ethical from the day I got in there. Everybody wants to believe. I actually said this in the war room recently. I said, everybody wants to believe that when you're winning, you're cheating. And it breaks their heart when they find out they're simply being outclassed. So I told the guys, I was like, we post what's called Tales of Victory. And that's where we all kind of have this responsibility to say how we're winning to keep the group going. And I bought 74 real estate doors in December in 1 month. And so that was the one I used. And I said, gentlemen, please remember this. There's enough room in the middle of the court that you never have to play out of bounds. Stay ethical. People are going to want to believe you're cheating, and it breaks their heart when they find out they're simply being outclassed. We have only just begun. These guys are good men. They work hard. They have ethics. And the guys that run the halls of the war room work very, very, very hard to make sure that they're constantly upgrading and making it better and keeping it clean and doing the right thing. And that's under Andrew's leadership. And I respect Andrew. I love him with all my heart. I feel the same way about Tristan. In fact, just yesterday I was packing my bag and I found a pair of Tristan's Under Armour pants that I accidentally stole from him. I spend genuine time with them. I have my own room in their house. When I go to their house, I stay in the same room every time. If they're doing these types of things, not only am I blind, I am a fool. They're completely innocent. I've never seen them do anything but be kind and nice to staff, women, anybody that they come in contact with. They're the most wonderful people you will never meet.
The term they use these days is they're getting attacked by the Matrix, right? And when we flew out to Madrid to interview Tate, and when he went down the checklist, this was in September. It's crazy how this time could fly. And he was telling us the story because we were the first big network or media outlet to interview him after he got canceled. And he told the story of like, all right, first it started with Meta, and then it went to Instagram, Facebook, canceled, TikTok, YouTube, bing, 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 bing. But it didn't stop there, YouTube. And then it went to payment processors, Stripe, Square,
all of it.
All that stuff.
Internet.
And then it kept going down. He's telling me this. And I realized how much of a coordinated effort it was. Then it was Uber. Then it was Lyft. Then it was Airbnb. And then
There's
it went
Gmail.
I'm like, And I joked privately beforehand. I said, don't you think these tech titans are on like a WhatsApp chat or a
Absolutely.
text chat, and they're all just kind of coordinating? Ha ha, that would be funny. It's like, no, this is actually what transpired. So you again, you've stayed in his house. You're very friendly with these guys, very good friends. What do you know that the public doesn't see? Like, the public has this perception, male misogynist, sex trafficker, human trafficker. What can be said behind the scenes that you can talk about that the public just doesn't understand, that makes you so certain of his innocence?
If Andrew is guilty of anything, it's not showing the world who he really is as a person. I say it all the time. There's Cobra Tate and there's Andrew. And the best side of Andrew the world never sees. And that's a damn shame.
But is that on Tate, meaning like that guy's got billions of eyeballs? Is it on him to show the world who he really is? Or is it on media to portray him?
To me, I think you could throw it in either direction. I just think it's a sad thing to know when somebody's a good person truly. When I've literally spent so much time. I'll spend 6, 7, 8 weeks with them at a time. Like last summer, we went on a supercar rally through England, France, Spain, Portugal, and then private jet up to Romania, and then went to Dubai. We ate every meal together. If something was off, I would have seen it.
You would have seen it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I got hundreds of employees, bro. They lie to me daily. If there was a slip in it, I've never seen either of the two of them act out of character in any way, ever. I would have caught it.
Yeah.
Never has it happened. Never have I even seen them slightly be rude to somebody. So I know with absolute certainty that they're innocent. And I know that this whole thing is, in my opinion, more political than it is factual.
Yeah, there's a lot of what you're saying that I fully agree with. Nat, pull up this last story. So last topic on this, and I want to open it up, but since Justin has such a unique perspective with Tate, so you saw the latest that Andrew Tate puts Aiden Ross, the young kid who lives down here in Miami, on his visitor list while in Romanian custody. So scroll down, go to Tate's tweet. He says, punch it on that a little bit. I've just filled in my visitation form while he's in jail in Romania. Besides my lawyer, I'm allowed 5 visitors. 4 are family members, and the 5th is Aiden Ross. So you familiar with Aiden Ross is?
Yeah.
Okay,
I know, why did you
go
pick
back
that?
to the
I love
picture of
Aiden
Aiden real quick.
Why
so
did they
people-
pick a pic where he's shirtless?
I just think he's kind of trying to be
Mimicking
funny in
Yeah,
this
he
regard.
just shaved his head.
Yeah.
He's a Twitch streamer.
So, Waller, you've got a very unique perspective on this. He's got 4 people in this world that are his family members, and the 5th member is this kid, Aiden Ross. What can you say about why he would add that to his list? And that's him tweeting it. It's not speculation, I assume, unless that's taken out of context. So why would he add Aiden, of all people, to this list? Best guess.
I don't actually know. What I would say is that he is a very intelligent man in regards to marketing and the things that he's been able to do to create the brand that he has. I think that he has a certain type of relationship with Aiden that
Yeah.
I've not been around, but it's very evident that it is there. And for that reason, I think there's a win-win there. He does care about the kid, I would assume, because I've seen him care about young men like Luke and take them under his wing, as I do with my guys that follow me around all over the place, that are on my team directly. So I think it's probably a win-win. Aiden has a hell of a large platform, and he's been a very loyal advocate of Andrew, and so that friendship is there. So I think it's a win-win. I think that bring the kid on, show him love, appreciate him, and have time to speak with him about the message that he's going to project out into the world. And it's quite a big platform he has. So I think it's smart and probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I think you said show him love. I think the one thing that I've recognized that Tate has done to Aiden Ross is tough love.
Yeah.
He hasn't been light on this kid. Yeah. He kind of calls him out, and you can see that the kid does want to improve because of his interaction with Tate. Very interesting. You're in jail in Romania, likely innocent, allegedly these crimes. We'll see what happens. I think we can all agree that the matrix and the system is attacking him, and they're pulling up some charges that may or may not be manufactured or not. We'll see if the long arm of the law and justice prevails. But of anyone you can put on your list, you're putting a 22-year-old Twitch kid, like just that this is the world we're in right now, is that you could become, I don't even think they even met in person until recently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but they've spent plenty of time together.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
is that like you can, some kid across the world, you can coach and try to improve. Next thing you know, it's a wild situation. And
but it goes back to life after 40, right? Like, what are you going to do when all the hay's in the barn? There's going to be a point you're going to get to where it's like, well, making money doesn't excite me anymore. What can I do? I can give back, you know? And so it's quite fulfilling to help a young man. I can say that personally.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me a bit, and I completely support it in every way.
Respect. All right, we got about 15 minutes left. I want to get through a couple more stories, and I want to get to some super chats at the end. All right. So Nat, if you got some super chats, tee those up for the end. We'll answer your questions at the end. But I want to give a shout out to Q right now, and we're gonna play this video that you did, bro. That was such a great metaphor for life, for dating, for sports. You know, Justin played football. I was a football guy. You were a basketball guy. And you broke down these Power 5 major schools, you know, the clip I'm about to show.
Yeah.
Nat, if you can pull that up. And it was very interesting about what women are looking for, what men expectations are. So we're going to kind of have a little conversation regarding this. Can we make sure that we have the volume and start this thing over?
Women believe that they deserve the highest quality guy. Modern women are like high school athletes who all believe that they are 5-star recruits who can play for a Power 5 school or get a Power 5 guy. When the reality is the majority of them are more like 2-3-star recruits that qualify for a low, mid, major type guy. But most of them don't even want to settle for that guy despite the fact that that's what they actually qualify for. But then you have some who commit to the low, mid, major guy but still believe that they can do better, so at the first sign of trouble, they transfer, hoping to get an offer from the Power 5 guy. Modern women will sit around waiting for the DM or interest from a Power 5 guy, hoping they receive a full ride scholarship to a long-term committed relationship, with the hopes of ultimately being a first-round selection pick in the wife's association draft. But the issue is a lot of these women don't even engage in introspective assessment or have the self-awareness to know that they don't qualify for a Power 5 guy, not to mention the level of skill and character development necessary to even qualify for a Power 5 guy. Most of the women who think they qualify for a Power 5 guy don't even have what the Power 5 guy is looking for. All these modern women believe that they deserve the highest quality guy. Modern women are like high school athletes who all believe that they're 5-star recruits.
So thank you.
That was it now.
So what an analogy right now. Thank you. Break down how you even kind of came up with that, because if you're not familiar with sports, Power 5 school, what's like the ACC, the SEC, big name colleges,
Big 12, Big 10.
Big 12, Big 10. And these are what you would call, you break it down to looks, character, resources, status, and power. That's your, you know, Big 5,
Criteria.
Power 5.
Yep.
So break down how you kind of came up with this metaphor, and then go even further as to what women are looking for and what these Power 5 guys are really looking for in a woman.
Okay, the first thing was, it was listening to what women say they want in men. It's what women say they want in men, and it's understanding the type of women that they have to be, that those men are attracted to and actually want to commit to. That's the first thing. So the Power 5 concept is looks are important to women. Character is important to women. Character should be important to men as well. And that's one of the things that often get overlooked, because a lot of guys think if I have money, if I have status, if I have power, then I'm attractive to women. But you actually need character to be able to retain those women. You have to be a man of principle. You have to have some integrity, stand on some things that's important to you, have some discipline. The status is what it is. Women are attracted to status. If you want to attract women, you need some status, because back in the ancestral days, you know, hunter-gatherer societies, the way a woman could get her status was through a man. That was how women created their status, and it also signified resources, which is what women are looking for in mates most of the time. A guy who has resources, that signifies that he's able to be a competent caretaker. He can provide for her and her kids. He can provide the optimal environment for that family to sustain, thrive, survive. And then the power, influence, connections, network, net worth, self-worth. So that's how I broke it down, and then I just basically analyzed it as there's a mismatch. There's a disparity between what women want, what they qualify for, and I called it out. I put it in the context so that guys could understand it. I used the sports reference because guys can understand that a lot of women do have confidence. It's just like the high school athlete. Yeah, I could play for this school. I could beat this dude. I could play here. I could play on this level. Then in reality, you haven't put in the work. You haven't put in the work. You haven't put in the preparation. You haven't put in the practice. Your skill level is not there yet. You need character development. So a lot of the times what I talk about with the character development is the femininity aspect, the being able to compromise aspect, the not being spiteful or impulsive. A lot of the things that we see especially with me and my clientele, the way women react, the way they handle conflict with completely competent, high-level, high-value men. And I don't like to use the term high value. I call them quality men. So quality men, they get these women. I had a client, he's a doctor. He makes about $150,000 a year. He took care of this woman. He put $50,000 in this woman's saving account. She repays him with infidelity, not being, not compromising, not being subservient, not helping around the house. She became entitled, and she came from nothing. I'm like, how do you do this to a man who's literally invested in you this much money, and you think that he's the one who's fucking up? He took you off the street, took you in, provided a lifestyle that you never had, that you never experienced. So a lot of the women that I talk to, a lot of the women that come to me, they want advice, guidance, insight. They want to know, how do I get a guy like this? And I say, first of all, you have to make sure you're a woman like that. Because when a man builds himself up to that level, he has the pick of the litter. The ball is in his court. Mm-hmm. He has women who are willing to do whatever they want, whatever he wants them to do. And if you want that commitment from that guy, then you absolutely have to exemplify certain characteristics and quality traits that guy is attracted to in order for him to get down on one knee and think you are worth the ring, the lifetime commitment, the marriage, and worth jumping in front of a bullet for.
Yeah, wow. Amazing how you kind of broke it down. You talked about what a woman want versus what they qualify for. So we all know those dudes that was like, dude, I could have played D1, bro, but you got to understand, man, the coach wouldn't put me in. It's like, you were really that good, the coach would have put you in. Or it's like, man, before this ankle injury, I could have. There's always excuses. So what do women want and what do they qualify for? And then I want to get the women's perspective based on your response.
They want the top guy, but most women are average, just like most men are average. And we sell this dream, we sell this fantasy. I call it the Disney effect. The concept of soulmates, the one, unconditional love, all of these things that women feed into, and then they want that from the type of guy that they want it from, which is typically the top 10% of men. Mm-hmm. But every woman can't have a top 10% of men, and every man is not a top 10% guy. Every man is not going to be a top 10% guy. Most are going to fall on that average, within that average distribution on the distribution curve. And as a woman, if you understand, like, I'm not super unique, and it's called in-group heterogeneity. It's a bias. It's where you think you're unique amongst the group that you identify with, and that's what I tell women. Yes, you're unique in your own ways if we break down your individual characteristics and your personality, but overall as a whole, most of us are average. You can't think you deserve a certain type of man and you're not that type of woman, and chances are you're not the type of woman that you think you are in your head. And that's one of the things that I constantly relate to women when I deal with them in reality coaching, women who email me, just hundreds of women, thousands of women who have wanted my advice and my guidance, and I ask them about themselves. Well, what do you bring to the table? What do you offer? What are you about? How were you raised? What type of emotional baggage do you have? Will you be an asset or a liability to a man who's worked his way up to this level?
Asset liability is probably the biggest thing when it comes to picking a spouse. Let's play a game. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. This is all fun right here. We talked about what you want versus what you qualify for. So it's all objective or subjective, to be clear. So Jamie, what type of man do you want? And then what do you think you qualify for, to use Q's response? And then we'll go to Amber, and then we'll go to Nat.
I think the biggest thing for me is like a man of character and honor. Like, you don't lie, you're upfront, you can communicate, like, you know how to stand up when times are tough. What do I qualify for? I think that anyone watching, I'm going to get like 304 OnlyFans hoe, but I think I'm a very good person. Like, I have worked on myself to be confident, and not in like a boastful way, but in like just knowing who I am. And I'm very nurturing, I'm very loving. I've never cheated on anybody. I'm like always there for my friends and my family. They always come first, despite having, trauma in the past. Like I've worked through that. And so I think I qualify for somebody who also has gone through that, and we can help each other grow. So
Okay.
the
By the
other
way,
stuff
at the
doesn't
end,
matter.
if it's okay with the ladies, we're going to have Dr. Q over here weigh in on your response. Let's have fun. Amber, you know, I think the world of you. What do you want and what do you qualify for?
I'm not looking for a high value man. I'm looking for a my value man.
Ooh,
like
she's got
that.
all the, what was the one you said before that I really liked? Your vibe.
We're both rhymers. You
I-
opened your show with
exactly.
like 4 rhymes.
I love that shit.
I want somebody who aligns with the same things that I align with. So somebody who really loves traveling and experiencing the world and art and puts a focus on being a good person, not necessarily looking for a top dog. Somebody who wants to build an empire. That's probably not my... I don't want somebody with high status, because then we're going to have those conversations where he's like, baby, I have enough money. I have all this stuff. I can sleep with whoever I want. You have to be okay with that. I'm okay with the middle status. The people who I am, like the guys who
She doesn't want a top 5 major. She wants to go
no,
play
I don't
for
really
the
think
Big
I
Sky
need
Conference.
a lot to be happy in life, besides, again, the values that I honor. So having somebody who like can provide and who values the fact that I can as well. I think the qualifications for women changed along the way. When I was growing up, when I was younger, it was like, you got to be as good as everybody else. You know, that's why I focused on being a straight A student and getting into the top school and having the best grades, because I thought that was the race I was in. And then something kind of changed where it was like, no, we want women who like are going to support our careers and be good housewives and be good mothers. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can be that yet, because I've been focusing on developing as a person and having something to say and having something to offer to the table beyond what's going to happen when I get married. Because I don't know that yet. I don't know that Amber yet. I haven't met her yet. I haven't met the man yet who I'm going to be that for. I think that changes when you meet somebody that you're like, okay, I want to like discover this whole new identity within myself that I've never practiced, because you can't practice being a mom, being a wife, I think, until you're actually in the trenches with somebody. So I've been developing in a whole other way. So what I qualify for, I think, is somebody who values the fact that I get on stage in front of people every night and try and make them laugh. That takes confidence and it takes wit. I'm clever, and I value money. I've been working. I've never taken money from my parents. I went and got an education that I paid for. I worked throughout it. I want somebody who values that. If you just want somebody who values the way that they look, I'm never going to qualify for that man.
That's not necessarily true.
I mean, I value how I look, but I value so much more of what I give and what I make people feel than what I like present.
Lady in red. Nat,
Yes.
what you looking for out there? What do you want, and what do you qualify for at this point of your life? Forever 21.
Forever 21. For me, I'm really looking for someone who's, and I kind of wrote these down, someone disciplined, intelligent, hold strong values, understanding, and a go-getter. For me, I would like to put myself in a category where I do, like, that's what I would qualify for, because essentially, like, me wanting that, it's telling me as myself that I have to support that. You know, and that's going to come with going in the trenches. That's going to come with, you know, having to sacrifice things on my end to want a man like that. So for me, like, those are really key things that I feel like men, they hold those certain qualities. It'll make them a better man and make them a better father. They'll be able to, you know, give back to the world in different ways. And as a woman, like, I would like to be a woman to support a man like that. So those are just some of the qualities.
All right, let's
favor.
go back to Dr. Q and our celebrity judge, Justin Waller, in the house right now. I really like what the women had to say. But go ahead. You probably, I know how your mind works as a behavioral therapist almost. Human, how would you describe what you do? Human
Behavioral
evolution,
science.
exactly.
Yeah, yep.
What dissonance did you hear, or what accuracy did you hear between what they want and what they qualified for, each of the 3 women? Be quick.
With all 3, my first question was, were you aware of what the men value? Because a lot of you said what you value, and a lot of it was more so with your character. And you mentioned, you stated that the OnlyFans thing. Mm-hmm. So my question to you would be, how would you deal with the discomfort that men have regarding that, and how would you make them how would you make them feel more secure regarding that? Because a lot of men aren't going to be able to look past that, or that would bother them.
Yeah, for sure.
So how would you deal with that?
I think I'm just like a very open and honest and upfront person. So I did have a relationship while I was doing OnlyFans. And anytime I took a trip for like a content house with a bunch of girls to make content or do anything like that, or if I was traveling for stand-up, he was updated. I always let him know what I was doing. I had no problem calling no matter who I was with. He was the one who actually like came up with the content sometimes. We'd like come up with like funny scenarios, I guess. And so he was like a part of that.
But real quick, just not to interrupt, because we've
Yeah.
got like, I'm getting we got 3 minutes left here, the wind down. What you're saying is they need to consider what the man is looking for. A lot of women will say, well, this is what I want, and this is what I qualify for. And you're saying that none of them took into consideration what the man
That's all I
wanted.
said was
That's
what men
same.
value.
Okay.
I didn't talk. Yeah, it's
Okay,
like
that-
The first
this is
thing-
what Q said.
The first thing you said was just for your looks, when in reality, you don't like that, but that's what's going to matter. That
But
is
she's
what's
looking for a man
that's
where
indispensable.
That doesn't matter to them, and there are men
And that's
out
what I'm
there
saying.
that
What
are like that.
what is the likelihood of her finding a man where her looks won't be the predominant factor?
Have you had a boyfriend?
yes,
Was he attracted to you?
of course.
Did y'all have sex?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's going to be the predominant
But
factor regardless.
he was a funny person who loved the fact that I could make him laugh, and that was what sold
But
him.
what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that's the indispensable factor. So if he didn't find you attractive, the rest of that falls secondary to that being primary, and that's just something you have to understand.
Well, and this
about
goes
male
back to the
nature.
Power 5 thing. We'll leave it here. If we did this last week when they talked about the breakdown of what a man is looking for and the sexual market value for a woman, and what a woman is looking for in a man, and it was a lot more balanced with what a woman is looking for. They wanted status, resources. They also wanted character, looks. There was an equitable distribution for what a woman was looking for in a man. And for a man, what they were looking for in a woman, it was 80% beauty. 80% beauty. And then beyond that, it's, okay, character, game, age, all these multitude of factors. So let's just not forget, we love women's beauty. And one thing that I will
And
say
it
is
fades.
outer beauty and inner beauty. We all know that. I say this all the
outer
time.
beauty attracts
I
us,
grew
the
up
inner
in
beauty
Miami.
keeps us.
You have no idea how many models I've run into where I'm like, you're some of the ugliest people on the inside I've ever
Yep.
seen in my life. Outer beauty, inner beauty. With that being said, Nat, let's take us home. You got a couple of super chats
Yes, so I'm
before
just
we
gonna
go,
read-
and then we'll wrap up.
Yes, I'm just going to read the super chats that are 20 and above, because we do have to go for the other podcast on PPD, so make sure you guys check that out. But we'll start with this one, 24 Royal Waller. Much love and appreciation for all of the info, brother. You have no idea how much your business knowledge has helped me with growing my business. Also, shout out to Fresh and Fit fam for having the show and discovering you. Another one from the person. Waller, much love and appreciation for all the info. You have no idea how much your business knowledge. Oh, it's the same thing. He did too. And then I have these last two from Scott Aragon. NFM Magazine wrote an article titled Meet the Unhappiest Person in America, and that person happened to be an unmarried woman in her 40s with no children. And the reason being is because there's females have tied to become an ideal man they want to be with, but most men who are high value don't want these women who think they are the same level. Lady in red, your homework, get facts. So I'm just going to leave that there because we do have to wrap up.
Okay.
But thank you all for the super
All
chats.
right, so
and make sure to like.
we do have another podcast today, 5 o'clock, Brian Callen, PBD podcast.
Be there.
So we'll be there. We usually do a longer wrap up, but let's just end with this, the happy ending. Jay Waller, thank you for being here. You're going to be on Jedediah tomorrow's show with Sterling Cooper. Fill us in on what to expect, what you got going on right now. Let's drive some traffic to that show tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're just going to have a normal conversation, me, my guy Sterling, and Jedediah. Big fan of Jedediah, respect her a lot. Really, really appreciate her. It's going to be really great. If you're looking for me, you can find me on YouTube, Jay Waller, Instagram, JayWaller7. Other than that, I'm just going to keep doing what I do every day.
Doing what I do.
Just keep working.
Amber, where can we find you?
You should come see my show. If you're in Miami every Friday and Saturday night, I host a very cool cabaret. It's It's my favorite thing I've done so far. I'm combining dance and comedy, and I enjoy it. And on Instagram, Amber Joy Lane.
Amber Joy Lane. Let's make sure that we have everyone's links below. Nat, Jamie, where can we find you in your beautiful podcast with our friend Emily? Emily, if you're watching, how you doing, hon?
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. You can find me at the Jamie Lee Show, JAIME, or on my podcast, Two Girls, One Blunt Pod.
There she is. Q, take us home, brother. Thank you for being on the show today. Where can we find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube, the Q Pill, Instagram, the Q Pill, Twitter, Q_Pill, and then on TikTok, ODQ Pill. And you guys can also purchase my book, The Q Pill, The Remedy for a Cold World, Overdose of Reality on Amazon. #1 best new coming book, philosophy and language.
Sick. Guys, thank you so much for being on here today. This has been great. Hopefully you guys grab one piece of tidbit that you could say, all right, that's going to help me get paid late or doing it my way in life. Thank you guys for being here. We will see you tomorrow where we're doing a show with the one and only Rich Cooper. Zoom show right there. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Save that money. We out.